You have 68 wins. You cannot 69 Nina.
I am that reminder that no matter how far you get in life, there's gonna be someone like me, born with much more than you do, who can cash in and take it all away at any moment.
Now, you know what? Now, I don't know who you've been talking to, but it's obvious that you hadn't talked to me. I pull rank around here, and everybody better remember that.
Ooh, follow the white rabbit.
The mask has been removed, but I tell you what, he's still the same pro wrestler, whether he's wearing a mask or not.
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother.
Whoa!
We got a mom in the front row who taught her daughter how to suck dick.
None of you can handle Tekla. None of you can handle the Sisters of Sin. And none of you silly bitches can handle the Triangle of Madness.
Oakley has Trey. Look at the speed, the rotation, the impact.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome once again to the Saturday Shenanigans, hosted by yours truly, the Renegade JJ Williams. Hi guys. Hi guys. CM Punk drama bullshit to the side. I still consider Heyman the worst AEW champion they've had. First of all, we're going to bring in Walter Cruz.
I said that as a joke when what's his name did his promo Monday. He said, "I'm from a prestige university." I said he majored in Steiner, man.
We've got the He Man, James Hebert, in the house.
I do really cool in dumb things on the internet.
Right. A lot of shit going on here. A lot of fucking crazy ass shit.
Where is Noah JD? Well, say his name and he appears, because we believe in Noah Foster.
Fuck is this intro? It is one of those things where as fans we do have these desires for what we want to see, but sometimes you can't always get what you want, and there are reasons you truly don't get what you want. I wouldn't even listen to this in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. What the fuck is this shit? God, rap is whack. Like I said, never been a greater time to be a wrestling fan than with more companies in a more lucrative spot, in a more comfortable business spot, in a sense of mind, it seems, than ever. Again, WWE is not the only one. It is not the end-all, be-all. So let's go back to the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams to get the official word. JJ, speak!
Make sure you tune in every week, because you never know who's going to drop in to join the shenanigans. Catboy is in the house.
Hello, my internet family. I say if you want to make them as evil as possible, make them really mad.
We have Mansfield joining the party now. What is going on, Josh?
Like I told no one when we were in Cleveland, him joining JCU was just an unfortunate side effect of my shenanigans towards you, JJ. I know how it can get better, Noah. The panel chooses you.
Shut the fuck up, Josh.
You said that so like.
We got some of the intro back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just think how you and I had lunch together the other week.
That was different.
Ladies and gentlemen, the King is here. Say his name and he appears. We believe in King A-Train. There are so many believers in Joe Hendry. The only person on this panel that doesn't believe in Joe Hendry is King A-Train. Tell the world why you do not believe in Joe Hendry.
The reason I do not believe Joe Hendry is he is Fandango 2.0 in a entrance merchant. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Hey! There's something wrong with being an entrance merchant. He Yeah, some of the best entrances of all time.
Teleporting into the command center, all the way from Angel Grove High, Datilla.
Oh, yeah. I went to the command center on Thursday. I went to Vasquez Rocks, which is where they filmed a lot of episodes. Somebody actually climbed to the very top of those rocks. I made it halfway. I was like, I'm not going up there. Definitely Toni Storm versus Mariah May. That's the one match I probably am looking forward to the most. I really like the story. I'm familiar with all about Eve, so if it plays out that way, I kind of know how this is gonna go.
Say goodnight, Datilla.
Good night.
James, you did say his name. So he shall appear, ladies and gentlemen, the first time on the Shenanigans. Jeff Meacham is in the motherfucking house.
Ah! All right, we're coming in hard with the botch. All right, fucking hell. It's good to be back. It's good to have an opportunity to talk to the crowd on a Saturday. If you want to have yourself stomach through it, you can go back and watch when the Main Event Mafia took over Impact. That's what James is talking about. So if everybody just joined us, we're talking about people sedating people, attempted murder, boys, and tips. Welcome to Saturday Shenanigans, everybody. Aren't you glad I'm back?
Welcome back, Devin.
Cool. Yeah.
Get it? Got it.
All right. This might be a very short night for me, which I honestly don't mind. I've already missed Password Plus and Card Sharks, and I want to sleep, but nonetheless, let's see what this brings. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to the weekly moderated conversation wrestling madness. That is the Saturday Shenanigans. Hello, everybody. I am back here once again in the moderating hot seat for you this evening. You know what this is. For I am the Superman, the Super Brand, the voice of for Great for Profit Professional Wrestling. Damn it. And my name is Noah Foster. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. You want to dictate the conversation, super chat, pay by the passions. It's as simple as that. So, Pat, good to see you. I hope that everyone on this Memorial Day weekend will, of course, honor and respect those that have served us and are still, of course, serving us, but hold a humble memory in those that passed in serving us. Shout out again to the fact that today not only is Bray Wyatt's birthday, but also it is the passing of the late, great Owen Hart, and also 6 years to Hana Kimura. Everyone's different. Everyone's okay. Yes, sir. So, Fett, good to see you. Matt, good to see you. And I am rolling solo, so let's see if I can keep this thing as simple as possible. I think before we get into things on this evening, let me first off appreciate and acknowledge and thank all of you for tuning into our coverage of Saturday night's main event. It was WTV. What more did you expect? Did you really expect something big to happen tonight? Not really. There was more botches, but hey, this is the money you get when you watch WWE specials on Peacock. So it is what it is, folks. Who's watching? Anyway, I mean, it was all right for what it was worth. So I guess I can give a, I guess I haven't done this for a while. I guess I can give a simple take. Let's see here. What kicked things off? It was the 6-woman tag, the continued story of can Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley coexist with Alexa Bliss playing Peacemaker. Tensions were definitely, simmering, but as we saw, B-Fab and Meacham were isolating Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss particularly. Once Mommy came in, though, and Jade Cargill went face-to-face, all hell broke loose. At one point, all 6 women were down. It was a respectable 6-woman tag, but the result was kind of what I expected. That's kind of been the trend. Make the challenger seem strong. Because, again, we are 1 week away from Clash in Italy. At the end of the day, Jade Cargill, at the moment that Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley seemed like they were working together, and Alexa Bliss was in the embrace, got to get people that want. Nope. Here comes the storm to rain on that parade, quite literally. Jade Cargill was able to hit Rhea Ripley with the Jaded, and Jade won. That's right. Jade Cargill pinned the champion in the middle of the ring, clean as a whistle, once again. So is that a sign of things to come in Clash in Italy? You tell me. Going on from there, Becky Lynch botched against Soruka in more ways than one. We barely got a match. It ended up being a DQ with a messy finish against Jessica Clark, who took part of her Soul Snatcher, wasn't incapacitated, and Becky ran like a cowardly bitch. And then assaulted Soruka after the fact, so much so with multiple manhandle slams, being a petulant child. It has now been made official by Nick Aldis that it will now be Soruka versus Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship at Clash in Italy. Again, we saw all the possible gymnastic stunts you would think from someone with a tournament background by Soruka, and Becky Lynch had no answer for it. So that was that. Underwhelming. Unexciting. Go figure. What actually was match of the night, though, very great back and forth, deep back and forth. Penta Ciampa and All Eagle, Ethan Page. Ethan Page was bringing out all the stops, mentally and physically, to Penta. At one point, these two were kicking each other's heads off. Countless times. Super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. Boot to boot. What's that all boot? And both men were down. Ethan Page thought that he had Penta dead to rights at some point, but was unable to put Penta down. It was based on a avalanche power slam out of the corner that gave Ethan the closest chance to get a win. At one point, Penta hit the Made in Japan, but didn't have the great body differential over the body weight and shoulders, so it wasn't enough, and the match continued. As the match continued, Ethan was apoplectic and desperate, pulled one turnbuckle pad off, referee got distracted, and then he was able to catch Penta off guard with another turnbuckle, send him into the corner chest first, deep schoolboy roll, but as the referee was checking on the other corner, it kind of cost even that split second there as Penta survived. Even apoplectic again went after Penta, and then the second turnbuckle, he hit shoulder first. That allowed him to be staggered enough for a Canadian Destroyer, and Penta won with that. A very hard-fought defense for Penta Ciampa, who is still the Intercontinental Championship. This was the one match I said that was worth watching. And Ethan Page for his first title chance in less than a month. A very strong showing. Someone told me he's a future WWE Intercontinental Champion. It just wasn't going to be tonight at Saturday night's main event. With that being said, we move on from there to the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships as Brie Bella and Paige defended against Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax, and Last Legend. Pretty back and forth bout where, of course, power was really overwhelming the champions, and the challengers' cockiness and confidence kind of was costing them throughout this. It was actually not that much. At one point, I think Nia was going for a powerbomb sunset flip counter by Paige, and literally with a little bit of leverage, just enough on the tuchus to push Paige up on the match book on Nia Jax. The champs escaped. Nia Jax and Last Legend lost again. Paige and Brie Bella are still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So, nice short back and forth. Again, you could call it survival, if you will, because they are the most powerful duo in the women's tag division, or the non-icon version of it. And overall, Paige and Brie Bella, what you didn't think was going to ever be a thing, still be a thing. And no Nikki. Again, they did it on their own. And they took some resourcefulness versus overpowering the champs. They literally outsmarted them. So, again, I think it's safe to say the Irresistible Forces are out of the championship picture altogether. Now they lost to the tag champions twice, and this being clean as a whistle, well, as far as the ref called. But I am curious now to see who takes those titles off of Paige and Brie Bella. At this point, I'm still holding out for the Bayley and Lyra Valkyria experiment to actually garner something. I don't know. And then following that, we had the Vapor, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory versus the Street Profits. Commendable back and forth. They definitely reached a deep breaking point. And again, Paul came in instrumental in the champions retaining at ringside. At one point, Braun Breaker was going to come out and super spear Montez Ford, who showed incredible awareness and agility, leaping over Braun Breaker's spear, and Dawkins intercepting Braun Breaker with a massive pounce, sending him flying over the announce table, basically a non-factor for the rest of this match. However, when the Street Profits were finally able to hit Austin Fury with Avalanche Blockbuster, and it looked like they were going to win the title. Or excuse me, no, not that. Spinebuster combination Frog Splash. Paul Heyman put Austin Fury's foot on the bottom and allowed him to basically retain the tag team championships. Because Monsters 4 got angry, apparently distracted against Paul Heyman, went to go after him. Logan Paul hit him outside of referee's vision, out of nowhere, out of midair, with an anti-air raid brass knuckle shot. That allowed basically Monsters 4 to be neutralized, and a draped over one arm, incapacitated Austin Fury was able to retain, barely, the Pizza Tag Team Championships brought to you by DiGiorno. Adding further insult to injury, as it was a 4-on-2 job. Post-match, Braun Breaker speared both men out of their boots, and the Vapor continues to survive the condensation cycle. Paul Heyman, Logan Paul. By the way, the thing that was most over here besides Montez Ford's in-ring ability was definitely the Logan Paul sucks, and the Fire Logan Paul chants and signs, which I 110% approve. That was very funny, very fun. So the Vapor, the Vision continues to ride high. Street Profits, they weren't up, they were down tonight. And that was Saturday night's main event. Again, it was TV. It's another WP, but I will say this. No commercial breaks during matches, and the commercial breaks felt a little shorter because I guess we didn't have a timer on Peacock, and they actually did feed more WWE-based stuff versus WWE Incorporated lame brain advertising like you get on Netflix and ESPN. But that was Saturday's main event. A rather mid show, to say the least. It's like I said, Safed. I mean, today it was, you get a mint after dinner. It was the pre-dinner hand wash for me. And then I got served bread. Certainly didn't fill up on it. Probably had one slice with garlic butter. And then tomorrow I get the all-you-can-eat buffet. And then, of course, I get the dessert as I work at Papa Gino with Predictions League Breakdown on Monday night. But that was Saturday night's main event. It was all right. Not much more to say. It was all right. And then they ran the Clash of Lily card down, too, which, again, we know it will be Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi 2. It's now Becky Lynch versus Soruga for WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. It is Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the undisputed WWE Championship. It is Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu in Tribal Combat. And I think I'm missing one more match. Oh, that's right. Ember versus Jade Cargill, too, for the WWE Undisputed Women's Championship. And again, that will be next weekend, Sunday, as this Sunday brings us Double or Nothing from AEW. So, again, that was Saturday night. Go watch Penta and Ethan Page. The rest, you can go look at highlights. All right. Well, as we continue here on this very short, simple agenda, joining the fray is the man that always has the menu up and ready to be desired, Nick Belief, one of the hardest working men here at the Simple Lab Studios. Nick, how are you, my Canadian king of food? How are you this evening?
Are we the only ones here right now?
The answer is yes.
Oh, Jesus. Where the hell is everybody? Surprise! We're the only ones here. I don't know, buddy. This is yeah, okay. Shenanigans! Yeah, shenanigans!
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Well, again, I'm tired. Look, I already missed Password Plus and Card Sharks. I've had a science check all day. I'm already in a PO'd move as it is. So I was like, it's whatever. At this point, I'd rather play Canadian Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with you, but I don't have my trivia questions in front of me. But maybe I'll do some more of that later. That being said, Nick, first off, outside the fact that this is the first ever, I don't know what you call this, the Nick and Noah show, the NNN show.
Yes.
I was about to say it's a show in its own form. I'm not Craig Ferguson. I'm not Noah Ferguson, but apparently I'm running this 2-person event. But how are you feeling, man? How was your Saturday?
Saturday was good. Saturday was all right. Just pretty shitty weather out here.
I hear you.
So, I mean, we just kind of hung out. Yeah. I mean, fuck. You know what? Hey, man, 2-man booth. Let's fucking do it.
Okay, why not? First time for everything, right? I've done things solo, 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, doesn't matter, day or night, so fuck it.
It's so weird. We usually have like 8 people, and then shout out yes.
There's Emmanuel Dominguez.
Yes.
Tonight's Saturday main event was good, but predictably bad. Should have changed the title at least. Well, it is what it is with WTV, a monthly special before 1 week PLE where you hope to see a title change, if not 2 or 3.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I mean, I want to. Okay, so I mean, if we're gonna talk about anything WWE,
Well, believe it or not, he actually gave me an agenda on time, and that was 1 of 3 topics as I just ran down the card. So if you have any iota of what happened at non-Saturday's main event, the floor is yours.
Well, I was gonna say, it has to be known because because we're talking about WWE. I mean, you probably watch on a. I don't watch WWE television on a regular basis, so I want people to understand that when I talk about it, it's the way I look at it. So I don't have a leg to stand on because I don't watch the product that much. But I feel like it is counterproductive having Saturday night's main event. What'd you say? A week before pay per view?
Correct.
PLE. Sorry. That doesn't why I don't you could have just what so how many matches are we getting on Clash in Italy? Is it a 5-match PLE?
Let's see, Roman, Rhea, Cody, Becky, Oba. Yes, it is.
So if that's a 5-match PLE, why I would love to kind of know who. I mean, I guess it's a Triple H call. Why have a Saturday night's main event when you're having Clash in Italy next week? Why not load up that show, right? I get it that me and you are used to 10-match pay-per-views, right? With Double or Nothing on its way tomorrow night, which me and you can talk about it a little bit. But I just feel like it's counterproductive in a way to have Saturday night's main event tonight, Clash in Italy next week. You could have just loaded up Clash in Italy and made it a bigger deal.
Yeah, and I remember in the early days of the Fed when Saturday's main event was that setup for the bigger matches and rivalries escalating in story that were basically ahead of the pay-per-views or the in-the-house events back then. Now it's just more so a just retro namesake. You don't even have Jesse Ventura on here anymore, so you don't have that crockety vibe.
No.
The most retro thing here is the freaking Mr. Anderson microphone that Lillian Garcia uses, and it's a house show. And with the fact that WWE doesn't really have like a house show circuit as much, maybe this is their way of giving back to their roster that doesn't get the reps in to prepare a match enough. And also, it's one of those things where it's just at the end of the day, marketing, more money, marketing. And the crowd, they had good energy. And, I give the crowd credits due. They definitely helped with the environment. But at the end of the day, if you could promote something versus escalate something, that's what WWE's going to do with Saturday's main event, it seems.
You're right, but I think, I guess, and people in the chat, if they're WWE fans, they can correct me. I always welcome the criticism and being corrected.
Subjective, but honest and constructive.
Yeah, for sure. I just feel like, again, having, you had a 5-match Saturday night main event. You're gonna have a 5-match PLE. You might as well have just. I'm not saying get rid of Saturday night's main event, but split it up a little bit. You don't need to have that, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Which is a common kind of complaint of from what I and I watch certain people from New York, and one of his criticisms and a lot of other people's criticisms, and I think that share it, is having a 5-match PLE. You're not getting your money's worth, right?
Not in this day and age.
It's not. So I mean, you could have had this. You could really do a better job in spacing these out and putting these Saturday night's main events in better positions. Position them better. You talked about the house circuit and whatnot. Well, there was a report. Shout out Fightful and Sean Rossap. I think he put out the report that for at least the summertime, house shows are going to be coming back. They are going to be doing more house shows, and giving their
Good.
young talents reps.
That should definitely help things, honestly. That should
Yeah.
definitely help things.
So I mean, so I just feel like you're doing the way that they have this scheduled. Like I would put Saturday night's main event and make it a bigger deal, and space it out a little bit. Other than that, I mean, what was on the card that was interesting, right? Like I don't watch the product. I don't watch the product on a regular basis. So to me, nothing I think on that card, because you had Penta and Ethan Page, you had
you can't remember the card.
No, you had Penta, Ethan Page, Montez Ford Dawkins in the Vision. You had I think you had Jade Cargill, right? Was on the show.
Yeah, Jade and the Baddies versus Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Alexa Bliss. 6-woman tag that actually opened up the show.
Okay, so there's 3. Yeah, like I don't know. I like I said, I just kind of wish they spaced it out better. And this is not just it's not just
we're tongue and I owed on every podcast form I've been on outside the Shenanigans, including the Shenanigans, what both companies need to do to find the perfect balance that hasn't been achieved since Black and Gold and NXT. Case in point, allow me to present to you Exhibit A here to remind you of a bygone era and what a card looks like for dynamic championship matches of a good balance in quality. And might I add, this show was literally 2.5 hours. That was NXT TakeOver Portland. This was NXT TakeOver New Orleans. I'm just saying, you can make 5 matches work, but you need to make sure that the matches have the story value and the competitive nature to be part of the billing. And Black and Gold NXT took over in that department with flying colors for 30 of these events.
But I think you're still... And listen, this people can kind of look at this the way they want, whether it be a detriment to the product or not. It's a business. They're running a business. So people that are, the commercials and whatnot can be overbearing for some people. I know with me,
Paul Levesque has admitted it's overbearing, all right? If it comes from the damn man behind the pen, enough said. Jury is out.
Well, when I said... What? Oh, when I said...
When I watched... by the way.
Yes. Noah says hi.
Hello.
When I watched WrestleMania night 1 and night 2, I watched WrestleMania night 1 more than I did night 2.
You poor soul.
Well, no, it was. I felt, and I was doing a watch along with DJ and those guys.
Shout out to Rock and Ropes. Continue.
I felt like the commercials really hurt the show. So I mean, if you're having a 5-match, I just don't think 5-match PLEs work, because with the amount of commercials you're getting, you referenced takeovers, but takeovers never had this many commercials, this much advertisement.
Correct.
So I mean, in this day and age where ad revenue like that is so key, 5-match PLEs, I don't think work. But flip the coin.
I've always considered 6 or 7 the perfect mid-level spot, honestly, for amount.
And that 6, I would say 7, yeah, 7
max, no more than that.
And this is where, again, we'll flip the coin, because we're all about being transparent and being, we don't hop the fence. Yeah. AEW has a problem with too many matches.
Correct.
Sometimes it gets too much. I'll give you kind of an example. When I was at All Out this past year,
you were there live, bruv.
And I was with somebody who wasn't a wrestling fan. And we got to the time of All Out was, it started at 3. This was last year. Started at 3. We didn't get out of the stadium till about 9. So it's like, on the one side, one company is doing, I think, too little, and AEW, love Tony and everything he's trying to do.
Just say what it is, Nick. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. As a subjective fan that looks at all professional wrestling, let me break it down to you. I only watch one TV show every week, and I don't even watch it live anymore because I've found a way now with resources where I can avoid as many commercials as possible for that product. You know what that product is? AEW Dynamite. The only time I watch it live is when I'm doing a watch along with you guys. No other TV forum I watch live, and honestly, no other wrestling TV forum locally here. I DVR in full. I look at WWE_ matches for all WWE updates and content because he literally updates every clip of promo, backstage engagement, not to mention the matches in 1 to 2 to 3 parts, depending how long it is. And the commercials, he has none of them because he uses the international feed. Netflix doesn't do that. It gives you the extra 3 minutes. As far as TNA, the only highlight I need is Mike Santana doing Greatest Champion. Is Laylee Lee doing Greatest Champion? Is Demon X Bunny going to take the titles from the Elegance brand and make Knockouts tag titles matter again? That's a whole different conversation. And then as far as, well, actually, that is the big three. Collision. That's kind of one of those things where I'm at work and I'm on lunch. I'm literally fast forwarding my DVR to the matches I care about the most because it doesn't fit me as a whole. Now, some of the shows have as a whole, especially Fair to Hell, but that was only an hour. And as far as other stuff, Japanese, Mexico, UK, you name it, that's just on a watch-by-watch basis via Internet Archive of my other resources, NWA World. Hell, I barely have watched the Best of the Juniors since day one. The bottom line is this. You got to find a happy medium, and there isn't that anymore unless you dictate it because no business is going to give it. Again, I miss Card Sharks and Password Plus to fulfill business arrangements for the freaking SRS. You guys made me miss 2 of my favorite classic game shows across a freaking 2-hour span for a WWE show, and I'm pissed off about that. But honestly, my nights literally involve watching a 2-hour block of game shows after work and going to bed. Seriously, it's all about finding the happy medium. Nothing on a premium level has done that in this day and age. The difference is, as you said, ad revenue, advertisers, investors, top 1% own the business so much more, especially in the Fed, that wrestling live anymore becomes unbearable and unwatchable. And as long as you got the attention span, you can endure this. But if you don't, you know what you might miss because you might be waiting for the bigger stuff. And already looking at this card, I'm just waiting to call this because I'm autopiloted into the AEW pay-per-view structure because I've become used to it. And I agree with every criticism you just said about it. But at the end of the day, at least with this, as a fan in my own right, speaking for myself, because I don't control the world, thank Christ I don't, I get my money's worth out of it.
For sure, you do. You do. I think, Tony, and leave that graphic up for a minute.
Okay.
You're right. I think with Tony...
by the way, welcome folks to the segue topic. We are discussing what is the outlook of a wrestling fan versus the wrestling show you get, premium or television. I am your host, Noel Foster. This is my color analyst, Nick Believe. Thank you for tuning in to Saturday Shenanigans. Please continue.
I know. I think me and you are we're just going to go out. I mean, I don't know.
We're talking about the show. Fuck it. This is a takeover. We're going to talk about this shit until we don't want to, and then I'll go to commercial, the one commercial break. Anyway, continue.
Well, I don't know what we have on the docket as topic-wise.
2 other topics. Don't worry about it, because the next one, you definitely will leave the fray, because it's about one certain individual that you all interviewed. Nonetheless, continue your thoughts on this.
Cool. Well, no, I mean, do we have a topic of previewing? I would like to preview. I think me and you should preview this card. I know you guys did simply.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm the host. I'll spoil things because why not? The internet spoils everything. Tonight's agenda includes the following: discussing Saturday night's main event. It was a TV show. Okay, there you go. Recap over. We're also going to talk about the Jack Cartwheel interview, and Jack Cartwheel officially now part of the AAA roster. Congratulations. And we are going to conclude with a little bit of a fun wrestling outlook, although I think this is more fun. What, in your opinion, do you consider some of the greatest wrestling rivalries and feuds in wrestling history in accordance of comparison to an article recently put out by Body Slam? That is your on-hand agenda tonight for the Shenanigans, unless we go otherwise. But so far, I'm enjoying this being the takeover, so please continue.
I was going to say, you know what? Let's hit Do we know if we're gonna be getting anybody else soon, or
I don't know a fucking thing. All I know is
Okay.
I got a
So-
2-hour clock. So unless anyone shows up here and it's just me and you and I can definitely take over this for 2 hours and then bid everybody a fine I do it. I'm fucking fine with doing that because I'm the
Okay.
host, damn it.
So let's do this. Let's hold off on the Double or Nothing preview because let's preview it, me and you. Let's get at least the topics out of the way. So Jack Cartwheel interview.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Jack Cartwheel. Jack Cartwheel, of course, you all interviewed this past weekend. Thank you again to Jack Cartwheel giving us an hour of his time. And of course, as we've learned, he is officially now part of the Triple L roster, much like Catalina, who has recently been in now the Independents and AEW, had one time in WWE, and now she's part of Triple L. So again, congratulations to both. But talk to me a little bit about what your takeaway was from the Jack Cartwheel interview, and how do you feel about him now being part of AAA?
Well, I wasn't on the interview. I watched it back, but I wasn't on it. We had our great friends.
Papagino, shout out to the Papagino network. As of course, me and him do Prodigious League breakdowns. Stay tuned for that, folks. Monday night, 6 p.m. Standard Time live. And also stay tuned to his channel where we do Major Push Wrestling for 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. Please continue.
Yeah, so Papagino was on there. I didn't know, is Papagino part of No DQ?
Yes, he is. He is a moderator of No DQ Review. He is also one of my fellow statisticians in the prediction leagues and one of my great friends.
So shout out to him. Shout out to Gino and the No DQ crew.
Subscribe.
No, you know what? I watched it back. Cartwheel, we have to give a couple kind of thank you to him for coming onto the show.
Absolutely. Gave us an hour of his time.
Yeah.
God bless him.
And that came about, with the hard work that two of our members put in Vegas. Doing a lot of networking. We're really trying to push us as a brand and really put our names out there. So they were doing a lot of networking, and they met Jack Cartwheel, and they were being, they were really respectful when they first met him. And one of the key things that stood out in that interview was that JJ and Walter, the two men that were in Vegas for us, they really stood out to him with the respect that Walter and JJ showed towards Jack Cartwheel. They made a really good impression, and they really stood out above the rest. And when we asked Jack Cartwheel for the interview, he knew who we were. So lesson of the story for that is just be kind to everybody.
What a crazy concept. Support when I respect the charge. I always close. Treat a human being like a human being despite their career path. What a crazy thought.
Yeah. And these talents, as much as they are talent, they're human beings. They're normal people.
Exactly.
So treat them with the same respect that you would anybody else.
Simple as that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's pretty basic things, right? Another thing in the interview, they asked really solid questions, and it really came off great. Jack was such a great sport. He was, you can tell with the smile, he was all in it, and he was loved to be there. So I usually tell people, and so Jack, if you are watching this, when anybody comes on our show, and I tell this to everybody, you're family. You become part of our family, and now that Jack has come on our show, Jack is family. And we're gonna champion our family to the best of our abilities.
Much like I look at people that are hired at my job at Mercy College, because I truly think that's a family, and I truly think that when you look at people more than just assets to your freaking brand or even your own wallet, it's just one of those things that I feel like it brings so much more of a moral value to everybody around you, including yourself. There is such a thing as appreciation versus compensation. There's a reason why there are two different words in the dictionary, folks.
Yeah. And I mean, we really appreciate, these people. If you go back to any one of the interviews that we've done, these people can give, there you go, Well, that was the old.
I'm still putting it up because we're talking about it. Because again, he gave us our time. Give the man his credit. Because again, also know that crowd is going to go away because he's no longer WID. He is now officially AAA. And of course, it's not his first time in AAA. He previously was involved there challenging for the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship. He also has been involved in other promotions actually for Cruiserweight Championships, including the Crash Cruiserweight title. At the Crash. It's an independent promotion, by the way. So he's always been kind of that cruiserweight dynamic background, which I think is going to fit really well for him in AAA especially. So I'm looking forward to what sort of madness he gets involved with it there and what sort of time he goes after.
I really hope they don't mask him up or anything, I really hope they don't. Because I feel like Jack Cartwheel is Jack Cartwheel, right? I don't think he needs a mask.
Yeah, we know who
get
Jack
over
Cartwheel.
with
We know who Jack Cartwheel is. I'm just saying.
But him, him getting the chance to go and learn from Mark Calloway at AAA, I feel like he's gonna do wonders for his career. So
agree.
Anytime anybody can learn from the dead man, you take that opportunity. So hopefully Jack takes that. He's injured right now, but hopefully he has a speedy recovery, gets back on his feet, and does some crazy shit.
I'm sure we're going to see him cartwheeling all the way down into the AAA ring, and then cartwheel clothesline somebody to make his first impression. And I'm looking forward to saying how many times I say cartwheel in a single match when we call one of his matches at a AAA featured event, because we know sometimes worlds collide in WWE, and I'm sure Jack Cartwheel will definitely be part of that marquee. He certainly should be. And again, Jack Cartwheel, the first time that we acknowledged him and even met him, or recognized him, it was the Independents, of course. I remember him in ROH. We've seen him countless times in GCW. Heck, he was going up against the Hybrid too, and Joey Janela at one point in freaking GCW. And of course, Evolve as well. Yep.
Didn't he do? Wasn't he on AEW television during the pandemic era? I could have sworn I thought he was.
I'm pretty sure he had a couple of moments on AEW Dark Elevation. I think that's what you're thinking, because I do remember when Jack Cartwheel particularly tried to cartwheel against a heavier opponent. I was like, okay, this is gonna be short. And then it wasn't actually. It went a little longer than like you think. Less than a minute or 2 minutes. It was like 5 or 7 minutes. I'm trying to remember who he faced without looking up, because it was during Dark Elevation. Jack Cartwheel is also a California boy.
Well, nonetheless, he was there. I remember.
But again, Elevation, a fitting name. Look at how far Jack Cartwheel has elevated his career. He's officially part, call what you will, as WWE owns them. He's officially part of the WWE.
Yeah. And you know what? Listen, sometimes there's some. You never say never, right? No, you never keep your doors closed.
Of course. You don't burn bridges either.
No. And this was a an opportunity for Jack, and I feel he made the right decision for him and his career, right? So you can't fault him for that. We wish him nothing but the best and support, and hopefully we get to talk to him again very soon. And speaking of that, check out all of our other interviews that we've done. We've had a lot of great. We've had a lot of great talent that we've interviewed. We've had a lot
more to come, of course, too. As of course we shared, we will be soon, of course, having an engagement. Public forum to discuss the continued rise and growth of who truly is the center of attention, the FSW Women's Champion, Brittany Brooks. So stay tuned for more on that book. She actually recently was involved even in TNA. And that's the beauty of when you follow these workers, because they literally have inspired you or engage you, might be the more appropriate term, in their career. Much like how we follow the Conrad Karma, Kaya McKenna, who was recently involved in Ring of Honor against Hyatt and Maya World, and also on Collision against Divine Dominion. Not to mention, going to go after Erica Dominion's Spark Joshi Pro Pacific Championship. And again, advocated hockey fan for those sports enthusiasts, and just in general, a good spirit. And that's the other thing here. All these people are just good spirits, whether we've interviewed them, engaged with them, whether you've had a tweet about them, etc. So I look forward to how much more of a spotlight we could be on these incredibly young, rising individuals in their career, but also just bring a forum where they can just be comfortable being themselves and telling their story. Not everything has to be straight up corporate. You actually can have a casual conversation with a person in and out of wrestling, and that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, and you know, Jack felt really comfortable. It seemed like he was really comfortable with the boys, and Papagino. So I mean, again, please, guys, you know, if you're watching this back or watching us live or in the chat, really take a second to go watch not only not only Jack's interview, but everybody's interview, because they're really they're really deep dive into not just the performers and the people in the business, but even the people at home. So yeah, definitely go watch Jack Cartwheel's interview. Walter, JJ, and Papagino did a great job. So shout out to them for holding down the fort.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And again, thank you to Jack Cartwheel, and thank you to all of those that have engaged with us. I only hope that it's further encourage you to continue what you love to do, and we look forward to following you along that journey. And I hope that others will also follow along and invest with you. That being said, thank you, Nick. And again, shout out to Papagino, Walter, and JJ, and the continued great work that they do on their own forums and ways as their passions continue to persist for all things professional wrestling. Well, with that being said, before we go into the last of the actual topics, because that might be a doozy considering you look at rivalries, you look at connections, you look at what drew you in, what you still remember, whether it was a match, a moment, a segment, a face-to-face, a promo in wrestling. On the other side of this commercial break, we're going to look into some of the greatest wrestling rivalries according to Body Slam, give our take, and maybe give our own additional takes towards this conversation. When the Saturday Shenanigans continue, stay tuned. We're going to talk primarily about wrestling rivalries. Do you have an all-time great? Do you believe in their all-time great? Stay tuned.
And now for a taste of things to come.
I really do appreciate that new logo and splash. I gotta make sure I put that into all of our banners and stuff like that, or the promotional slides. Anyway, here, folks, as always, this is about student truth, encompass, embrace, celebrate, engage, pontificate, analyze, criticize, and react to all the wrestling. And welcome to the first ever NNN show. It is Noah Foster. It is Nick Believe. We are the only contingency right now for this week's Saturday Shenanigans, and I find this quite interesting and also quite welcoming. It's actually fun finally engaging with this man one-on-one, outside splitting minds between analyzing, interviewing, and also commentating. So that being said, let's go ahead and keep this conversation, this fun little soiree going. So again, Nick, JJ brought this little fun topic to the foray, because in wrestling, what defines wrestling more than rivalries? Because There's always takes two to dance. If there was one wrestling with a broom, I suppose that you could add asterisks to that. Invisible Man is still an entity in his own right, so it counts if you want to bring that up. But let's go ahead and look more deeper into the history of wrestling from a rivalry standpoint. Recently on Body Slam, as of May 10th, they put out an article called the Top 10 Greatest Rivalries and Feuds in Wrestling History. And I'm just going to go ahead and look at this by Tim Vasulis, because I always honor, as you all should if you're in college, always cite your resources. Came out May 10th, and he puts out this. There's a reason people who don't even watch wrestling know who certain people are. What? Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you smell The Rock, Lita, Trish Stratus, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Randy Savage, Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart. Of course, this is Owen Hart's anniversary of passing 27 years later, I think. I know Oofman can correct me on that. Shout out to Gavin with Oof. Go follow that podcast for me. He did more discussing about that. Anyway, the best feuds in pro wrestling aren't just about two guys fighting. They're about conflict, identity, and the kind of storytelling that gets to you whether you want it to or not. It just draws you in. It compels you. And he has put out this as the list. I'm going to go up the list from 10 to the all-time great according to what they said, and then we could dissect maybe a couple that we think truly deserve the spot where they are. Maybe should be higher, if not lower. And if we want to add one, whether it's women, men, or a different company, or maybe someone that just connects to you as a great rivalry, then I think we could add that to the conversation. So here we go. Number 10. It was from WWF 1986-1987. It was the Macho Man, Randy Savage, versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And of course, we saw that escalated all the way through WrestleMania 3 in front of 93,000 people in the Pontiac Silverdome, where, of course, Steamboat won the Intercontinental Championship. And that match in itself is one of my all-time greats. Number 9, this is a little bit more modern and up your alley, eh? You remember Kevin Steen and El Generico in a bygone life? Fast forward the clock. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, their time through NXT all the way up to the present. In general, these two that have defined their careers since PWG, ROH, now through NXT and WWE. Two proud Canadians. The inception of both these men's inclusion in the Bloodline storyline that culminated in Championship glory of WrestleMania 39 goes to show the lengths they were willing to go, not only against each other, but alongside one another. If you, again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Without Sami Zayn, would the Bloodline had resuscitated new life during that year? I don't think so. I think it was really going down and getting ready to flatline because we were tired of the same old shit.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, let's, you have to call it a spade a spade. The Bloodline storyline with Sami Zayn involvement, that really got WWE to be white hot for that period of time. That story really carried them for years on end. So, but going back to, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, that was one of the highlights in NXT for NXT Black and Gold, right? The rivalry that those guys had, it really moved a lot of people. It was the infamous apron spot.
Yes.
Right? That
as soon as Sammy won the title when he risked his own career after being Neville for that championship when NXT arrived at NXT Arrival, that turned into Rival and was literally the beginnings of takeovers as we knew it.
And what was didn't he got injured off that spot, no?
He did for a little while, but he still wanted to defend the title against Kevin Owens. And when he did, Kevin Owens obliterated him so many times with a powerbomb. The referee called it off, and that's how Kevin Owens became NXT champion.
There you go, right? So, I mean, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will always be linked to each other. They've had, even on the main roster, they've had many programs together. So it just, that's one of those rivalries that holds up over the years. So, yeah, I would say number 9. It's a good number 9 show. Then Ricky and Macho Man, I mean, two great legends. Can't say much about it. So yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Again, the man that never wavered his loyal to his integrity, and Macho Man Randy Savage, who was literally popping circumstance, theme included. I mean, enough said. And Miss Elizabeth, the first true woman in professional wrestling, God rest her soul. Again, enough said. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue down this list and bring up the next two. Number 8, another Canadian that took the opportunity, and we certainly saw it against the man you can't see, Edge and John Cena. Edge and John Cena, that spanned across the 3 years, of course, when Edge, of course, came into his own and the rated R superstar made the WWE Championship rated R, when, of course, he used at New Year's Revolution after Elimination Chamber the Money in the Bank briefcase. And, of course, we saw the rivalry escalate not only prior to WrestleMania, but afterwards, Last Man Standing, thrown into a spotlight, multiple years, multiple encounters at the WrestleMania stage, including WrestleMania 25 with that love affair with Big Guerrero and, well, the Big Show. And, of course, literally being in enemy territory, Unforgiven 2006, that TLC match, and the bumps that both Edge and Lita got. Why John Cena's father was there, the only man that was part of that John Cena was able to reclaim the WWE Championship that night and take away the star and bring back the Spinner W. You got to get credit's due when it came to how much John Cena was shaped by Edge to find that aggressive edge, pun intended, but also how much Edge was able to bring so much psychology to this story, making it personal with John Cena's family.
Yeah, that was a right. I mean, throwing, the countless, even, we have they had the live sex celebration. They had the throwing. Didn't John throw Edge into the river or something?
Yes, that's exactly right. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
moving to the Long Island Sound.
It was the hotel brawl. I mean, John Cena's greatest rival, I think, will always be Edge. I mean, there's no question about it. And I mean, I was a young lad. But I remember my first ever wrestling event was that Unforgiven show where, that was my dad took me. This was when the Scotiabank Arena was called the Air Canada Centre. I have to go back and remember who the card was, because I'm pretty sure Trish was there.
You're correct, because Trish and Lita had that retirement match where Trish Stratus became the WWE Women's Champion one last time, and Lita came in as champion that night. Of course, that's right in its own right, and we haven't gotten there yet, but I'm going to pause you for a second, because speaking of Canadians, she's yours, she's mine, and she's also yours. She's our Canadian friend, and the other half of the Canadian connection, Ash.
Ash is here now. Wow.
Hello, Ash. How are you? Oh, good Lord, I got both the Canadian connections here. It's Canada versus America. I'm outnumbered.
You are outnumbered, sir.
For now,
but yeah, no, that show, the way that Edge went through 2 tables off the ladder was a moment. And it was just another great rivalry that I don't think can never
be duplicated.
I don't think you can ever duplicate it, never repeat it in modern wrestling.
No, that's fair. And, of course, there's Ash's number 1 fan. And, Ash, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Shenanigans. This is the Simple Man and Canadian edition of the Saturday Shenanigans. As right now we're talking about...
It's the Simple Canadian edition.
Wait, I'm Canadian now? When did that happen? Okay. That being said, well, why don't I just go ahead and change the lights? That being said, let's go ahead and continue this article, so next up, and we'll get Ash's thoughts on any of these. I'm going to go ahead and read the next 2 together, and then we could kind of like break it down. We're basically reading a top 10 article from Bislam about what they claim are the top 10 greatest rivalries and feuds in wrestling history, and giving our own takes on it, and then maybe giving our own take on should we think anywhere on the list be adjusted, and if we have a rivalry that was near and dear to us that's not on this list, what is it? And this rivalry spans companies and eras. Speaking of eras, this might be a little bit before your time, my friend, but there are hard times with the Common Man and the Nature Boy. Woo! Because next on this list was the rivalry that felt like it never ended when it comes to a socioeconomic class standard, and that was Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes, going all the way back to the NWA. Hell, going all the way back to the freaking 1989 Rumble pure matches with Ric Flair and Ricky Steam. But before then, there was Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Flair, that was all pop, circumstance, limousine riding, jet flying, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, designer robes, championship gold, Rolex watches on both hands that would make a common man cry, a man born into success and his own greatness that would make other men completely jealous and probably envious and cry. Dusty Rhodes, though, was the guy that was the American dream, the dream being to maybe reach that success, but still be humble in it, to earn your way versus being given it. No offense to Ric Flair, where, again, some people, it's just what it is. And this caused, of course, warfare with these two men across both their respective careers. Countless arenas sold out night after night after night when you knew that Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes were going to be in the ring or on the mic. It was never simply about when the two were in the ring. It was about what they stood for and what they believed. Enough said. And honestly, if it wasn't for those two men, the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, probably would not have the traction or the namesake in the greatness of Sweet Charlotte and the Burke that it still has today to a degree, with Kenzie Page and Latimer helping with that. So that being said, number 7, it was Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Number 6, before I get your thoughts in on that, you were just talking about John Cena. How about we change the culture? John Cena and CM Punk, who John Cena said on Chris Lee's podcast, he is my wrestling soulmate. The pipe bomb, infamous pipe bomb delivered back on June 27, 2011, that changed the scope of how we looked at the wrestling business as we know it. And maybe told people, you can actually be a bit anti-authority and stand on your own whims and not necessarily regret the consequences that come from it. And of course, everybody was always on the buzz ever since CM Punk did that promo that night. Of course, it continued to escalate from there. You think about Money in the Bank, where John Cena says, I want this match, Vince. You're not going to fire him. I'm going to do it my way. And going into the Lions Den in Chicago that night, CM Punk left, blowing a kiss to Vince McMahon. The rest is history. Still to this day, the impact of that promo and what CM Punk stood for and what he believed he was, truly call himself the best in the world. Why John Cena was the best that WWE had and what WWE wanted to make. And CM Punk was completely against that. It's one of those things where you look at two different sides of the coin and how they still are mixed together. That's the definition of John Cena and CM Punk. And I think that feeling is still held up today as they look particularly at the rivalry from 2011 to 2013. Now, I will pause in regards to both those rivalries, and let's see if we get y'all's thoughts on either of those. Ash, I'll start with you. As someone that, again, you never watched a Kevin Hart match. Maybe, well, there you go. She might know a thing or two about one of these rivalries. So what do you want to talk about, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, or John Cena, CM Punk? The floor is yours. What do you think?
Oh my God, I love the John Cena CM Punk rivalry.
I figured.
This is one of the very first pro wrestling shirts I have ever bought.
Wow.
And I cut it up into a tank top.
Okay.
So I didn't like how tight the shirt was.
Oh, Ash.
Surprisingly, I can still fit this.
Oh, well, look at you.
Right? I'm not as big as I thought, but then I remembered, oh yeah, this is a small men's shirt. So,
look, men's shop and women's sizes. Look at Kevin Hart. I'm just saying.
True,
anyway,
yeah.
continue.
Well, I can fit this, but just not that well. I kind of fit into this. Like, I've worn this on the show a couple of times, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So obviously, John Cena and CM Punk, that rivalry back then in 2011, you must be very familiar with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember like there was a time where I was just like, some people, like a few people I know, I was contemplating whether or not to finish watching WWE, because at the time, that's all I knew. All I knew was WWE and TNA. I knew about Ring of Honor, but I just didn't know how to access it because it wasn't on cable TV at the time.
That's fair.
And also the fan base. Also, the fan base was let's just say this is like, well, because you know how people view the AEW fan base, because it's like a lot of like very outspoken toxicity that surrounds that fan base.
Unfortunately,
that's how I felt with the ROH people, and I missed a lot of good stuff on it because not every ROH fan was like that, but the people who were like very loud and vocal just made it appear that way, but that was not the case at all. So,
Mm.
yeah, I did not know about any of these companies. All I had to go with was TNA and WWE. And I wasn't paying attention to like dirt sheets or anything. So when CM Punk cut that promo June 24th, was it?
June 27th.
Okay. I get those days mixed up. So I'm like, I was just like,
It's raining.
is this real? Like, is this like, is this for real? It's like, is this the person playing the character's realness, or is this the character like mixed everything in it? And it's just everything just felt so real for a moment. Their Money in the Bank match is one of my favorite matches of all time. Like that's if you never watched a wrestling match, that's what I show people. I show them the promo and the Money in the Bank match. And then going through like and how they expand on that feud, because their Night of Champions match was really good. Their Survivor Series match was pretty good. Like John Cena and CM Punk, I can't name a bad match of theirs because they were all bangers.
Yeah, in their own way. They're absolutely correct, especially during that time. And it was always about one-upping each other, it felt like.
Yeah, they just complement each other so well. And they just bring out the best. Like even earlier, like even last year during their feud going into Saudi Arabia, I really enjoyed it. Like, sure, there was some like cringy moments or like, but at the same time, it's comedy, it's subjective. I thought that was funny. Like CM Punk mocking John Cena for his thugonomic days, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was a pretty damn funny change of the tale with John Cena being the heel and no longer the New York Yankees, or still is, I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely a rivalry to remember. All right, let's go through the next two.
Also, I want to mention there's in 2013 on my old channel, Shadowbat Ash, I did a reactions video to the CM Punk John Cena match they had at that Monday Night Raw in 2013.
Nice.
So I will say,
go ahead, Nick.
I don't agree with this one.
So you don't agree with John Cena and CM Punk as number 6?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and continue through here. Go ahead.
And the reason why, I don't agree with it is because I would flip this with number 8. 9?
8 was Edge and John Cena.
So I would flip this with Edge and John Cena. I think Edge and John Cena's rivalry outweighs this one.
That's fair.
It was definitely more personal when you literally saw the man's father versus a man's credit to the business and what he believes in. So again, I do understand both sides, and that's a fair shout. And I think we will have at least a couple that we may want to flip here. But that being said, now it's time for the top 5. So let's see what we got here.
Previous list, because I missed them. If you don't mind,
you're fine. Yeah, you're absolutely fine. I'll be happy to run it down. Number 10 was Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ooh, okay.
Number 9 was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
NXT or ROH or both?
NXT. Business as a whole, but primarily NXT on up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they counted. I don't think they counted El Generico and Kevin Steen. I think it was.
They talked about it a little bit, but primarily it was NXT on up.
Okay, because the whole NXT feud was based off their prior ROH history, so they have to at least touch on it. So, okay, that's good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, again, the previous life, that wasn't Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That was Kevin Steen and El Generico. I'm just saying.
Oh, right. I forgot there were 2 different people. Yeah, sorry.
Right. Anyway, number 8, as Nick was pointing out, was Edge and John Cena, 2006-2009. Number 7, Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes. Classed forever, in my opinion. Enough said. I could talk about that all night. And we just talked about John Cena versus CM Punk. But now let's go ahead and get into the top 5. The next 2 on this list, believe it or not, it's gotta be Kane. It's Kane versus The Undertaker, actually. Ooh. Going all the way back to You Have a Brother. Going all the way from 1997 all the way to, of course, 2010. You think about when Undertaker was buried alive. And then, of course, as we go on further from there, WrestleMania 20 is like, not real. When The Undertaker was, of course, brought back to life by all beings, his own damn father, Paul Bearer, who, of course, held the urn and held the power. But, again, when the lights went out and it was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, we were wondering, who is Kane? Is Kane here? Is Kane here? During the very first Hell in a Cell match, might I add, at Bad Blood, 1997. Next thing you know, boom, and Kane ripped that cell door open, and Undertaker was face-to-face with an anomaly he never faced before for quite a while, an anomaly he didn't want to even touch, because, again, that was your baby brother, and it felt that damn personal. Of course, going all the way back to the first time they actually had to meet one-on-one in the ring, or he finally chose to, WrestleMania 14, Undertaker, he basically, during the headlights, he took 3 damn tombstone pile drivers to be put away. Then the Inferno match.
I remember that match, yep.
When Kane's arm caught the fire and the feud kept continuing, spanning across multiple years of WrestleMania, decades, tagged together, Brothers of Destruction, fought again. I mean, you remember the fall in 2010 when Kane was champion, and of course, he will never be the favorite son. A Buried Alive matches, Hell in a Cell matches, but there is always that unique in-ring chemistry between the darkness and the fiery fury that was Kane and The Undertaker.
Yeah. I can see that being, if that's going to be in the middle, I can see that being a top part of a top 5.
Yeah, basically rounding out the bottom 5. But here's one that I don't know if Ash is going to be able to speak much on, because Ash, it's Bret the Hitman Hart versus Shawn Michaels for number 4 during the WWF time in 1992-1997, which of course eclipsed with the screw job heard around the world from a certain area in Canada, I'm just saying, in 1997. But nonetheless, it was always one of those things where the most charismatic superstar of that decade, breaking away from Argentina after throwing him through that barbershop window, and of course going to business for himself. And of course he had Sherry at one point. And again, all the women wooed him. All the women wanted to be with him. The professional jealousy, considering one called themselves the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And the other one was the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, the main event. It escalated from there, going all the way up, of course, to that incredible 60-plus minute Iron Man match. Might I add, that was my standard of Iron Man match till MJF was Bryan Danielson. That's just me as a fan, though, just saying.
Fair.
And of course, their match went into freaking overtime after the freaking bell rung, and the score was still 0-0. Nonetheless, though, things really escalated, of course, at the pinnacle of that rivalry, when, of course, ding, 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 the Montreal Screwjob. And of course, they were able to bury the hatchet decades plus later, but still, you think about what that rivalry meant in both men's careers and also in the ever so controversial history that is the WWE, those haunting images of the tap out, do the bell ring, the spit to Mr. McMahon, fuck you, and then Bret Hart went to WCW. Just saying. It was such a messy way to go out, and still to this day, you can't look past the fact that Bret didn't screw Bret according to Vince. Vince screwed Bret.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a rivalry in and of its own that really, the trajectory of both men,
the trajectory
kind of went in different paths, right? So yeah, I mean that was a good rivalry. Okay, I'm with you on 5 and 4. Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on from there. And again, your girl still hasn't watched a Bret the Hitman Hart match, have you?
No. It's still a work in progress.
You little bat. All right, that's good. Anyway.
I do say this. I'll say this. My mom loved watching that feud.
Oh, I can only imagine when she fought when Bret got screwed.
I don't think they were watching Survivor Series. I don't recall them watching it because they were just as confused about the Montreal Screwjob as I was. So I wasn't there for what. It's because I started watching Monday Night Raw the night after that happened.
Oh, really?
So you can imagine how confused AF I was.
Oh, for sure.
I tried to ask my dad what happened, and he couldn't tell me because he didn't watch the pay-per-view.
So not much help there to you now, is he?
Right? It wasn't until years later which I found out what happened, and I just find it so fascinating because there's like so many different angles and like troops to it that we don't know why it happened. We just know Vince's side of the story, Brett's side of the story, Shawn Michaels' side of the story, and we just don't know what really happened that night.
Pick your lane and basically just go with it. Yes, Nick.
And the good thing about that, and I think those were, to take a page out of your book, those were simpler times. You know, kayfabe was real. Nobody knew what was real or fake at the time. So it really, like nowadays, you know, with WWE Unreal, they really, with the dirt sheets, like that wasn't a thing back then. So kayfabe was alive. You didn't know what was real or fake.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we only have AOL, and social media wasn't even a fabricated idea yet, and MySpace was barely a thing.
Today, as it is now.
Right?
Exactly.
Like if you really,
yeah,
like if you look at kind of the times in modern wrestling now to when it was back there, like you didn't have Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful. You didn't have No DQ. You didn't have bodyslam.net. Like kayfabe was alive. So it was again going back to the Montreal Screwjob. You didn't know if it was, you know, where everybody stood at that time. So
and now it's like everyone just stands. Yeah, now everyone just stands in the same. Yeah, everyone just stands in the same sheet of music where everything pretty much is a work, much like politics. But I'm not going there. But I am going to go back to 1997 because I'm sure you're going to recognize this, and we'll get your tidbits on this. Do you smell what this Robert was cooking? The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from 1997 to 2003. When it came to the most electrifying man of all time in all of sports entertainment, yes, this is number 3. WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania 19, of course, that trinity, that trilogy, where The Rock could not be Stone Cold until 19, after he went Hollywood. Literally using Stone Cold's old move. You got the blue-collar brawler versus the shiny Hollywood Rockefeller movie star, the corporate champion, versus the guy that stood against the corporation before everyone else did it, just to make it look cool. The definition of attitude was Stone Cold Steve Austin. He could not be controlled. He could not be manipulated. He could not be bought. And the attitude era hit its peak in many ways thanks to these two men, where one went into business for himself and the other one told the business to fuck off, but still open up a can of whoop ass every night. You look at the way with the smoking skull belt, which of course was Stone Cold's own design, the ammunition added to the Rock's fire in their promos, in their segments at one point, throwing the belt up the bridge, throwing his pager into the freaking water, Stone Cold thrown into the freaking water with his own belt, the Rock pulling a funeral, and of course Stone Cold coming back, whooping his ass, the freaking confrontations across Royal Rumbles like Royal Rumble 2001, and as I said, beat him at 15, beat him at 17, but 19, which still is my favorite, 19, of course, The Rock finally did the one thing he couldn't do, was beat that bald bastard's bloody freaking ass on the grandest stage on them all. Literally, it was one of those things, though, that without The Rock, would Stone Cold still have had that same level of fire and momentum that, you know, the short runs and feuds that he had with Vince McMahon, and now forever, but Paul Levesque, Triple H, Kurt Angle. In my opinion, though, when I think about who shaped Stone Cold the most, I'd still kind of go with The Rock. Yeah, he went against the establishment, but The Rock was literally everything that Stone Cold never wanted to be and never was going to be. Just saying. And they never phoned it in. They never went easy on each other. With these two kicked each other's ass, it felt like a legit blood feud. They felt like they fucking hated each other. And they bludgeoned each other forward in the process.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I think that we can just say that was our childhood. The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You were a Stone Cold fan or you were a Rock fan? You had to pick a side, and sometimes you didn't choose.
Yeah. That we did. I didn't watch WrestleMania 15, and I haven't watched WrestleMania 19, but I did watch WrestleMania 17.
Okay, well, WrestleMania 19, in my opinion, is still one of the top 5 of all time. You owe yourself to watch that.
Yeah, I heard it was really good. I could should watch into that because the very first WrestleMania was also the very first pay-per-view I watched, that being WrestleMania 17.
Okay, good stuff.
I know, right? That's a fucking start, wasn't it?
I'm about to say it's a good start. I will give you that. It's a good start.
Yeah. I absolutely love that pay-per-view, and I love that match, and also going into it because I didn't like. I'll say this: I was around for the Attitude era, obviously, but I didn't really get the full-on experience because we didn't watch on a week-to-week basis. My family and I, we only like watched it every so often. The only time I started watching weekly was during the invasion angle.
Oh, geez. That was the best thing about that was Paul Heyman and Jim Ross on the commentary. You're out here, my kiss my ass. That was one of my favorite setups ever.
Yeah, that's when I started watching weekly. So I only know like bits and pieces of The Rock and Stone Cold.
That's fair.
So, but from what I've seen of it, yeah, I can, and from what I've heard from like other podcasters and pro wrestling fans, yeah, being at number 3 sounds very reasonable.
I'm shocked it's at number 3 because I would love to know what's. I mean, we're gonna get to it right now.
About to find out.
Yeah.
What number 2 and number 1 is.
You're gonna scroll.
You know, back then with that rivalry, and I think the Attitude Era in general, you know, that was the definition of appointment television because you never had DVR and all of these things that we have now. So to see how far TV has come from then, like we can go on a whole side tangent with that, to see where television in general has come from back then, where you're either recording it on VHS tapes and
I remember those.
Yeah. There was no such thing as DVR and I'll just rewind here. No, you know, that was kind of or YouTube and shit and Netflix. Like that was appointment television. So it's crazy where television was at one point and kind of where it is now, and seeing the decline year and over year after
I mean, can you call it television anymore? People barely watch TV. It's all stream. It's all internet feed. Cable and satellite is dying because there's so much content archived for free through a service like Roku and Amazon Fire, or you just literally purchase a subscription to a small little service that gives you selected content.
Yeah,
it's funny how you mentioned Amazon Fire because that's what my mom uses sometimes. I'm trying to get my mom just to strictly go through streaming, but she's so old school. She has to have cable television still.
Oh, I still have cable television. I wouldn't. I am not. They'd have to cancel cable television. I don't think I can get rid of my cable. I don't think I'm a cord cutter. I love my cable television too much to cut cord.
I mean, that's respectable. Your bill must be also reasonable because here it definitely isn't. I'll tell you this much. Everything in this house is literally streamed or streaming. It's literally an internet home here. And the only thing, as I told you, that I watch outside wrestling on DVR as I want is game shows. Buzzer, Game Show Central, Game Show Network, Celebrity Name Game Channel. And guess what all those are on? Roku.
Yeah. My friends, they've gone the same way as you have, Noah. They also just streaming, no cable.
I can't. Yeah, no, I can't. I like flipping through channels, and I find joy in flipping.
Still have one of these and use it for that purpose. I gotta flip through the freaking channel guide for the service.
I flip through channels. I love doing that because let's be real. In Canada, we have a lot of good cable networks, cable television. So I mean, I don't think you'd have to fucking pry cable from my cold dead hands.
Fair enough. Well, I'll show you what a Roku guide looks like, and then you can get back to me when Roku Live TV is absolutely free, and it gives you everything from freaking UK to Fear Factor to every crime drama to everything with Soul that's not on BET, and then some. And as I said, my game shows. That's a different conversation. Now they got a dedicated channel for TNA. Moving on.
I wonder what the next, and this is something that.
Do you want to guess? Because we are in the top 2. I dare you. Go ahead. Take a guess.
No. It's going to the cable thing. And before we get to there, we look back. We look back before, You know, did you ever think back in the 90s or the early 2000s we'd have what we have now?
Nope.
So it's kind of like, okay, if we have streaming now,
That's in the future to even have this.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if
welcome,
streaming
Jeff.
is now, if Netflix is now, what will we be in 10 years from now? Like, what's the next evolution from Netflix, right? Because listen, we had VHS, and then we had DVDs, and then we had Blu-ray, and then we had, and now we have, you know, Netflix. You know, it went from drive-ins to cinemas to movies to now Netflix. So, like, what's the next evolution? Where do we go after Netflix? Where do we go after streaming?
Or have we already hit the ceiling and we can't go beyond that?
I mean, the only thing they could do is literally try and merge them all under one umbrella. It would have to be a global merger, I would think, would be the next evolution, where only one service literally has everything, and whether or not it's one massive price or it's a la carte, but it's all underneath one literal app. That could be the next phase, or it could be like the end game for all we know. Because imagine one app on your TV, boop, and then there's everything right there. And then it's like, you don't have to worry about flipping through a guide. You just pick what you actually want to do, or you choose to go up and down till you find what you may want to watch or discover something new. The only other thing I can think of, somehow, somewhere, you're immersed literally in the freaking cinema to the point you're being attacked.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, you think about it, the way life and the way the society has kind of taken its evolution. It's like, where are we going to be in 10 years?
Well,
like,
as the song says, evolution is a mystery. All right. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and move back on to this list. I gotta be honest. This has been one of my favorite shenanigans I have done in a long damn fucking time.
We still have something else. Thank God Ash is here, because we have something else after our topics.
Oh, yeah, we do. A little bit. Well, it said and more, and I'm the host, damn it, so fuck it. We'll go and more, but let's go ahead and finish this, because number 2 is I want to put this out there, by the way. I had no prior knowledge of anything on this list or this article until I literally opened it up here with you all live. And I am scrolling through it as we speak. And as I scrolled at number 2 and you saw my face, I just got one thing to show you and do for you.
Oh my God, is it Omega Okada?
It's a Kenny Omega Tsuchika Okada at number 2. At number 2.
At fucking 2.
At 2. I kid you not. Whether or not, no matter how you look at it, outside star rating, I feel like this right here, just getting the concept. Again, this is why I don't rate, I don't rank. I just thought, like, what? This had to be purely on a wrestling standard of what a competitive wrestling match or rivalry you think should be.
But
What the fuck?
high, though? Like, I can understand like 4 or 5, but 2?
There's only 4 matches. Hold on.
That's not a apartment. Goddamn.
No, well, I mean, you have it right, too, because it was 4 matches in New Japan. It was 1 Canadian that decided to be Japanese to try and change the world to make New Japan Pro Wrestling a global juggernaut and a recognized name. And truth be told, if you didn't know New Japan, you heard of Kenny Omega's name. You were watching Wrestle Kingdom 11 that night. Still one of the highest watched Wrestle Kingdoms of all time. Not to mention, the following year, you had Kenny Omega and Jericho, while Okada and Naito closed it out. But regardless, you even said it. The 4 matches, G1, Wrestle Kingdom 11, Wrestle Kingdom 12, and Dominion. A saga that defined a legacy of what became known as the Elite and who became known as the Rainmaker, and the recognition of the name New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we go to AEW, where both men now are in the second biggest company in the world, somehow find a way to collide once again with each other one more time, and the roles are reversed. It's crazy to think, though, that this, for what it's worth, in the recognition of the caliber of athlete versus the global outreach, understood versus gain prior to the fact that I scroll and find this, if nothing else, one of the greatest in-ring works I've seen for a rivalry as number 2 is the only reason I could garner this being at the top of top 3 of this list. That is fucking ridiculous. And might I add, this is the first non-Fed or WWE, WCW entry. This is the first international entry on this list. Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada at number 2.
Okay, I don't want to comment on it until I find out what number 1 is.
Okay, fair enough. You were shot. Anything further you want to add regarding that?
I mean, I'll admit, Omega Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 11 is what brought me to New Japan because I've heard so much buzz about it that I had to go see it for myself.
Fair enough.
And so I watched it, and then next thing you know, here I am getting dragged into feud, not just because of the New Japan backstage shit, but also getting to know about Kenny Omega through being the Elite shows. And then it got to the point where I'm just like, I want this guy to succeed. And also what he was going through at the time as he was chasing Okada, dealing with like friendship drama, figuring yourself out. Mm-hmm. It was super relatable to me because I've been there before. Hell, I'm still figuring myself out as we speak right now.
I think we all are to a degree, but as far as a wrestling fan, this rivalry brought you in to a different degree of professional wrestling, me included. I knew New Japan prior to this because, again, in the early 2000s, I was looking for something else besides the Fed because I was just, ugh. If it wasn't for Ring of Honor, TNA, and New Japan, you probably wouldn't know the Superman as you know him.
Yeah, that's the same way for me. If it wasn't for so the way I got into New Japan was through that fateful September day when I accidentally stumbled across Ring of Honor. And it was through Ring of Honor that I got into New Japan. Also the buzz about Omega and Okada from Wrestle Kingdom 11. And then from there, I watched their Dominion match that same year.
You mean the first one that went to a damn 60-minute draw?
Yeah. But this rivalry at number 2, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's a little bit crazy, even by my stand. Again, I don't rank, but I'm just thinking about what makes a rivalry. And truth be told, the scope of the rivalry, to Ash's point, though, it probably did change. And also, looking at the word of media, this probably was one of the biggest talked about rivalries in the history of wrestling media because of the scope of the rivalry and the match brought at Wrestle Kingdom 11 in this unique clash. Nobody before Kenny Omega and Okada did something like that. So I can kind of understand the impact of it, but the rivalry itself from it's kind of crazy, especially when you consider the rivalry itself, you could say was probably maybe 2 years almost, if that, as a whole. But in New Japan, it was like a year and a half. Because, of course, Dominion 2018, 2000 and freaking, to your point, Dominion 2018.
Yeah. That's when it finished because it started at, it's so fitting how this feud started in June 2016 when Omega won the G1. Yeah. And it ended 2 years later at Dominion in 2018.
Unbelievable, but still.
Now, did Okada and Omega do anything with this rivalry? Did it span into Ring of Honor or no? Was this just strictly New Japan?
Strictly New Japan.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't. I would say that they'd be right in this if this also spanned Ring of Honor. But we were at a time in the world where that wasn't the case, right?
No.
Because we didn't have what we have now wasn't like that back then. So you would never have seen Kenny and Okada in Ring of Honor. So
not then, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, not then, right? So I mean, for them to say that the fact that you put Edge and John Cena at number 8 and you put this at number 2, I don't know about that.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. That's possible. Yeah, it's just crazy to me to read this, and I'm like, wow. Because you're right. You looking at the two men. Yeah, they're two of the greatest of all time. Yeah, they may have changed the wrestling business, not the world. Wrestling business to the degree as we know it. Okada ruled New Japan for damn near over a decade. Kenny Omega redefined professional wrestling for over 16 years. Now post diverticulitis, still kind of doing it. But still, though, the rivalry in itself with New Japan as I think the focus of this choice, because that's got to be the focus here. Let's be honest here. And yes, they had 2-hour-long matches. They had the Wrestle Kingdom match. They had the G1 Climax match for Epic Con, but still, though, that was within 2 years. It's just crazy to me. But wow. But yes, that's literally what I'm reading. All right. Again, though, I still watch those 4 matches because, again, pure clinics, professional wrestling, damn it. I mean, my God, those are still incredible.
I have not watched any of those matches at all because usually for me, when I watch wrestling, when I watch matches, it's very rare that I'll go back and rewatch it because usually once I watch a match, it's one and done.
Yeah. Well, the exception with this, though, because I look at the big shows, I like to remind myself why they feel big. And New Japan still makes Wrestle Kingdom and Dominion their 2 biggest shows of the year. So I still go back and rewatch those. So I have literally rewatched the Kenny Omega Super Kyle rivalry because guess what, Ash? They take place in those 2 shows.
Yeah, and it's funny. This being at number 2, this whole week I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about like must-see matches, and three of the matches were on there. They didn't talk about the G1 match, and they were arguing
about that. Everyone forgets about that.
Well, the third match is important.
Yes.
Because it is. Because if it weren't for that third match, we wouldn't get Omega Okada 4.
Which was the end of it all. Dominion, 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit.
Yeah, because match number 1 was Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes.
Omega goes in as champion.
Yes.
Okada beats him.
But timeout. Okada goes in as champion. Kenny Omega was G1 Climax winner.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I
got you.
Too fast, getting mixed up.
It's okay, but look at that.
I'm getting excited about this. Okay, so number 2.
I can tell. That's exciting too. I scroll down. I'm like, what?
Second match.
Go ahead.
Is their Dominion match. That's my favorite out of the bunch so far. Is
the first
one?
Or
Is the no time limit match at Dominion 2017.
Okay.
So they tied. So they're like so Omega. So Okada still has a 1-up on Omega. Then there's the third match at the G1, which Kenny wins. So now they're tied up. And then going into that Dominion match, this is where the third match comes in. Omega mentions, you beat me at Wrestle Kingdom. I beat you at the G1. I have a win over you. We are tied up. We have to settle the score. But we can't end in a draw, which is why we have the 2 out of 3 falls at Dominion. So I don't want to hear shit saying that the G1 match is not important because it is.
First off, you're talking to a fellow Shinyan Pro Wrestling fan that agrees 110% and acknowledges and knows that, and that's still one of my top 10 favorite G1 Climax matches of all time. Secondly, I want to point out that Okada was the one to call Omega for this challenge after going 12D successfully in his 12th defense against his greatest rival prior to that, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and I'm very surprised not to see that on the list. And that would have made one of my lists if I was making a list, because that's one of my favorite rides of all time, considering one truly was the ace of New Japan. The other one was doing everything he could, hell and back to surpass him. And Ash, we literally got to call his fucking retirement against that very man. I'm just saying. Back in January.
I'm just so tired of people acting like the third match is unneeded in this series of 4 when it is. It's equally as important as the other matches. You can't have their Dominion 2018 match without that G1 Climax match.
Which was also made official at Sakura Genesis of all places, as I was also saying after he beat Hiroshi Tanahashi and called Omega out.
Yeah, that rant was not for you. That's for the people who are watching who may not know about it.
I love it. I love it. I love whenever we get batty rants on here of passion and they make 110% fucking sense for me as a wrestling fan. Respect. That's not a TED Talk. That is just accurate. Okay, now we reach the pinnacle, the top of the list, the fun of it all. Remember what the list was. I'm going to go through it one more time because I haven't even scrolled and look at number 1 yet. I'm going to take this down.
Wait.
This is, again, an article on Body Slam published May 10th for what they deemed the top 10 greatest rivalries and feuds in wrestling history. We've gone through 10 through 2. Time for number 1. To remind you, number 10. Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, WWF, 1986, 1987. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, might as well be Fight Forever. Primarily, they were looking at NXT and the present, up to the present, all together. Edge versus John Cena, 2006 for 2009. Of course, ending back at literally, in my opinion, the pinnacle of when it really reached a boiling point. Toronto, Unforgiven, 2006. But, of course, it did go through 2009 with the Big Show and all that stuff. Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, a battle of two classes of Americano, if you will. Everywhere, every way possible. Never honestly settled, in my opinion, as one man, God rest his soul, still was always going to live and believe in the American dream, baby, as a common man. And Ric Flair, he is still that high-profile athlete and high-profile lifestyle. Maybe to his own detriment sometimes, but that's a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, John Cena, CM Punk, 2011 for 2013, the pipe bomb, the controversy, leaving with the belt, coming back, 2 champions, Triple H, firing Vince McMahon, etc. You know the rest is history. That's Kobe Kane. Kane versus Undertaker, number 5, WWE, 1997 through 2010. When Kane first arrived, buried his brother. Undertaker once again appeared, fought his brother. They fought along. They fought against each other. You know the history. Etc. And Brothers Destruction for life. Number 4, Shawn Michaels versus Bret the Hitman Hart, going all the way up, of course, to the Montreal Screwjob, where one was the best there is, the best there was, the best there will be. The other one was the main event, the showstopper, the Heartbreak Kid. Both men, so technically proficient, was always trying to one-up each other, more in just charisma, but in in-ring capability. And it ended under dubious means, thanks to one man's itinerary. Number 3, The Rock vs. Stone Cold Steve Austin, escalating all the way across their trilogies of WrestleMania to the point in their final encounter, The Rock finally beat Stone Cold Steve Austin after he went Hollywood. It was the one last fade that he could do. And as I just read, number 2, holy shit, Kenny Omega and Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada that redefine a wrestling rivalry of in-ring caliber competition as we knew it in more ways than one. Without further ado, the number 1 all-time rivalry in wrestling history, or feud in wrestling history, according to Body Slam, is... This is going to be good. And... Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yeah, I can see it.
The definition of the anti-establishment taking on the top of corporate in an era where pretty much it was wrong to go against big business lest you face repercussions. And of course, this was truly the first rivalry that defined worker versus boss, let alone the figurehead of the company as we knew it. One guy straight out of Texas, bald, beard, drinking beer, literally the definition of a guy you would not want to see on your marquee representing your company, became the definition of what everybody wanted to be and probably encouraging bad behavior in everyone's children, being perfectly honest here. The genius behind this rivalry of how Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon could never play nice together. And all Vince wanted to hear from Stone Cold is like, you can't assault workers. You need to apologize. You need to work within the rules. You need to earn everything that you want. You can't force your way into what you want to do. It was almost like just a simple, let's go to my office and talk. No, we're going to do it in the ring. And then Stone Cold, it seemed like he understood. And then the worst stunner ever in the history of the WWE up to that point, or the stunner heard around the world, you call it what you want. The rest is when he told the boss, you can kiss my ass, and you thought the man was going to be fired and arrested. And of course, he was arrested on numerous occasions, and that is when Vince McMahon went into full-on boss asshole mode. The definition of facing the devil himself before MJF was even a fetus. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon spending the better part of the Attitude Era, 1997 through 2003, to the point that Vince planted his own daughter as a sacrifice to The Undertaker in a kidnapping just to get one up on Stone Cold. He used his own family as a weapon against Stone Cold Steve Austin's badass mentality to find a chink in the armor, and always trying to lead this man away from what he coveted, the WWF Championship. If it wasn't for Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, the Monday Night Wars, as we all talk about, WWF wouldn't have won. Simple as that. I'm just going to say it right there. Yes, there was The Rock. Yes, there was Triple H. Yes, there was DX. But at the end of the day, every child wanted to see what Stone Cold was going to do next to make Vince McMahon's life a living hell, and anybody that wanted to see what Vince could do to make Stone Cold's life a living hell without firing him, well, he did fire him on those occasions, they wanted to see it. To Nick's point, the definition of appointment TV was Stone Cold Steve Austin and or Vince McMahon on your screen in some capacity. Countless moments, crazy antics, Vince pissing himself after a fake gun was planted against his head after firing Stone Cold Steve Austin, freaking literally thinking he was untouchable. No matter what he did to this man, he always came back at him with a vengeance and vice versa. The hell these two put each other through was the greatest storytelling in the history of the wrestling business up to that point. Without Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, I don't think you have professional wrestling still today as we know it. So, that being said, that's the list. Let's get your thoughts on number one before we maybe dissect this a little bit more. Ash, I will start with you. What's your thoughts on Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon trumping this list on the top 10?
I can see this because even though I mentioned we didn't watch weekly, my dad and I, we watched all the episodes that encompassed this feud. We were like glued to the TV to this, or like at least the segments involving this, because when I was watching wrestling, this is all I cared about. And once that segment was done, I just went and did other things. This is all I cared about. And this this feud spawned a lot of the wrestling tropes and cliches in American pro wrestling that we still see to this very day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not just in WWE, but in TNA. It also in some cases it's also doing it in the indies, and it also helped in the ROH as well, especially with the Summer of Punk angle as well. The first one.
Yeah. Well, Culture Pro Wrestling used that to their own benefit, getting Eric Bischoff in there as an advisor before freaking Belushi, whatever his name was the freaking general manager there. These two set that trope. And regardless, you were just waiting to see Vince McMahon lay down on his ass in some way and Stone Cold pouring a beer over his carcass.
Yeah, I would agree that this is number one. The list as a whole, now seeing this at number one, this makes number two even more bizarre.
Yeah, the number two, in my opinion, is defined strictly on the pride of in-ring work, athleticism, and that belief in yourself as a competitor. This right here was the definition of what the fuck does a boss got to do to keep his worker in line when he refuses to fall in line, to the point I'm going to go even above my own family moral code or my own human moral code to get revenge against this man. Like I said, he literally used his own family against him.
Yeah, this list is okay. I think if looking at it at a totality, I would take out this number two. If we're going to talk about a rivalry outside of the E, you guys can agree with me or not, I think if I had my choice, I put Swerve and Hangman in, like, that's a rivalry, I think, that exceeded Okada Omega. I don't.
Words.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. I think if you're.
To be fair, it felt very personal. It started off with, okay, who's better? Who deserves the spot? That's what it all started with. And then it transcended into violent bloody warfare, Texas death, where Swerve not took a spot, he made his own. And the rivalry escalated from there as Swerve became Heyman's mortal enemy. As Swerve gained success, Heyman was stuck on the outside looking in the shadows, to the point it got so damn personal after Heyman cost Swerve on occasions. You invade the man's own home and probably traumatize their own child. When you affect a father versus a wrestler, I do think that adds a different vibe, even in kayfabe-wise, to a rivalry. And then we saw Heyman go on this delusion, a rant of rage, blind rage, seeing only Swerve in front of him. Heyman looked his own family in the eye to the point he almost wanted to kill the man. And truth be told, he almost did in kayfabe. Not once, but twice. And then he literally assaulted the man, not just physically, but psychologically, burning down Swerve's own childhood house, taking away a piece that can never be recovered. When you literally take someone away from a person that can never gain back, I do think that's an extra coup towards a rivalry. And the point that we saw that burnt steak used in that one match was also a nice touch. And then the closing of the rivalry years later, when Heyman found some sort of humility in front of Swerve, who still probably wanted to kill him, bound by a chain and circumstance, passed back to Swerve Strickland, and that was used in the very feud to free the AEW World Championship from John Mox and the Death Riders. It does seem like one of those rivalries that after 2 years had not only an ending, but also an internal closing. And that's a very, very rare thing to see in what feels like an epilogue to a legendary rivalry. And whatever you want to call it, Swerve and Heyman was that for 2 years of AEW's young history.
Now,
I
was gonna say, if you want to take out, like, let's say we're taking out the AEW aspect, and you know, if this list was, because it seems like this list was obviously before AEW's inception.
I mean, it was published on May 10th, and he did span WCW and WA, and he did do New Japan. So it might be one of those things where maybe he looks at, okay, the history of a company, like the existence. I can see that, but I just want to put this out here. He put that at the bottom. The best wrestling feuds work because they tap into something universal. Jealousy, betrayal, the need to prove yourself, the desire to see the underdog finally win. These 10 rivalries did all that and then some. All opinions here are those courtesy of the author himself, and they're justified in a degree.
You're right.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no. I just wanted to get out before I got.
No, go ahead, and then I'll get a dash.
If you didn't want to count AEW, or this is all before its inception, I think I would take Tanahashi Okada over Okada Omega.
I agree.
That's a fair shout then.
Right? Like if that's the case, and we're excluding AEW because I guess maybe, who knows, maybe this list was curated for before AEW's inception. So if that's the case, still at number 2, I mean, I would put, if we're gonna put international flavor into this, then yeah, I think I would put Tanahashi Okada over Okada Omega, because I mean,
Tanahashi's a recognized name, so that would work because he's been involved in Ring of Honor and even TNA. So people would recognize that to a degree, because you also got to consider the scope of recognition that these rivalries brought out, not just the region or just the company itself. So I definitely agree about that.
Yeah, and if you really, if you never knew who or what New Japan was back in the day, you really only knew 2 names. You knew Okada and you knew Tanahashi, right? Like, I mean,
basically past the Inoki era, you're absolutely correct.
Though
and Nakamura.
You can't have you can have, and the way I end this is, you can have New Japan without Omega. You can't have New Japan without Tanahashi and Okada.
Facts. Absolute facts. Yeah, I'm not. So before Okada, there was Shinsuke Nakamura. Before Shinsuke Nakamura, there was Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the rest is history with Antonio Inoki, Tatsumi Fujinami, other legends. Yeah, I'm about to say. Continue. Yeah, I'm about to say it's just Shibata and freaking Tanahashi. I mean, man, those two burying the hatch after such a long time. Definitely justified as well. I also want to just put an honorable mention here because I think the women deserve some credit. Let's just go ahead and give some love to Lita and Trish Stratus being a standard of what women's wrestling could be, besides just bra and panties, when they were the first women to main event Monday Night Raw, and the platinum blonde that every cover girl magazine could want against the extremists that was basically more for the tomboys and just the casuals. I think they set a pedigree for women's wrestling that if we didn't have those two, I honestly don't think you have women's wrestling necessarily as you know it. And then, again, with unique rivalries, China versus blank, China versus WWE Jeff Jarrett, proving that a woman can rule in a man's world. I'm just putting those out there as well because it broke the mold of a woman being more than just a fucking valet. But I definitely agree with Nick's points on what he said right there regarding that. So thank you, Nick. Ash, any surprise closing thoughts regarding this list or any rivalry you think that you would like to add or shift?
I was going to mention to Nick's point, like, if you were to have like an AEW match, yeah, I would put Hangman and Swerve on there, but not like in the top 5, though. That's the bottom of the list for me.
Fair
and
I think that's more recency.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's justified because I think recent rivalries in this decade are not necessarily top 5.
Yeah. This is quite the list. I'm not familiar with a whole lot of this list, but with the number 1, yeah, I agree with that. Everything else you can interchangeable, but number 1 is like dead set. Like, because if it weren't for Vince and Stone Cold, we wouldn't have all of the tropes and cliches that build a lot of storylines and feuds are based off of. And who knows what the landscape of WWE and professional wrestling in the North American sense, not including Mexico, would be if it weren't for that feud.
Yeah, and again, it was recognized globally. So that just goes to the impact, the everlasting impact that feud put, especially in professional wrestling. So what? Thank you, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and damn it, Vince McMahon, because good grief, those two set a precipice on what professional wrestling could be, especially when you're against the establishment. Well, that being said, that was an incredibly fun conversation. That was all the items on the itinerary, but the more portion will like to continue here in this first ever edition of the Saturday Shenanigans Canadians. So we are going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to give you a little bit of a preview into AEW Double or Nothing. So stay tuned.
And now for a taste of things to come.
Yep, there you go. Always here to see about students they encompass, embrace, celebrate, engage, pontificate, analyze, and criticize, and react to all the wrestling. And welcome back here to the Saturday Shenanigans, Canadians edition. And I am not Canadian by blood, but apparently I am tonight. I am the Superman, the host, Noah Foster, with Ash and Nick. The Canadian Connection. It's been a very fun conversation as we are going into a subtle overtime. As we've been discussing the greatest rivalries in history, let's go ahead and talk about the upcoming attraction from AEW. That is Double or Nothing. We're going to give you all a little bit of a preview. And again, please stay tuned for our live Watch From Reaction coverage. Time to be determined. Probably will be like a 15-minute pre-show, 7:30 p.m. or not 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we will be covering it live on Sunday night because I don't work Monday. I'm crazy, but AEW preview is always worth the money, Canadian or American A. So let's go ahead and talk about this card. As we know, we're looking at we're looking at the main matches only. I'm gonna sound like Porky Pig there. The 9-match card goes as follows. The Owen Hart Foundation tournament begins via the yield signs on the left-hand side. Athena versus Mia Shirakawa. Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. Bandito versus First Strickland. Bandito versus Swerve. First time ever one-on-one encounter. No prior wrestling history. Will Ospreay, Samoa Joe have never faced each other one-on-one either. And Mia Shirakawa previously lost to Athena over the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, a battle that truly defines strong style, will now fight over the AEW International Championship. The stage where, of course, Takeshita joined Don Callis and what was the birth of the Don Callis family. It could be the stage that he might be kicked out or wins championship glory. Talk about All or Nothing as Cage and Cope go after the AEW Tag Team Championships one last time against FTR in their final act of their trilogy. And it is I Quit, where if Cage and Cope lose, they must retire as a tag team. Top guys out or top guys down. We'll find out soon enough. And, of course, we have Stam Stampede. Talk about a real traffic jam. If you're in New York City or Toronto, you know what that means. 14 men, 7 on each side. So whether you go with Don Callis' family, the Dogs, Ricochet, and the Demand Boulevard, or you go with the Elite, Hurt Syndicate, and Jericho Street, Stam Stampede is 7 on 7 this year. The definition of wrestling shenanigans. John Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly, another battle for pride. The clock thrown out this time for the Continental title as Kyle O'Reilly topped John Moxley out twice. While John Moxley survived their recent time because the 20-minute clock expired. Didn't tap out, but had no escape. Out of the ankle lock, grapevine on the mat. Fatal 4-way action, talk about real intersection. Thekla, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, Carl Shida clash over the AEW Women's World Championship. All former AEW Women's World Champions. All with very unique Double or Nothing history. And Thekla, this will be her first Double or Nothing. And she comes in as defending champion with pinfall wins over Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander. And it all culminates in seeing a shave and a haircut. Or we see, once again, the rise of everyone's favorite scumbag. As Darby Allin defends the AEW World Championship against Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Where if MJF loses, he must get his head shaved bald. And of course, it's not their first one-on-one encounter. They defined AEW back at Double or Nothing 2019. And of course, Darby Allin has been going until the wheels fall off with 6 successful title defenses. But is 7 the unlucky number? And for MJF, is 3 at 30 history waiting to happen in less than 24 hours. And that, lady and gentlemen, young bat and food connoisseur, is your card for Double or Nothing. So let's go ahead and give our own little insights and brief previews in what we're looking forward to and what we think might be the most surprising outcome to come out of this too. Ash, I will start with you. Your outlook on the Double or Nothing card. Go ahead and lend some thoughts, some predictions.
So I'm really looking forward to these Owen Hart tournament matches because I want to see if it is actually, if what a lot of people are thinking, especially on the men's side of things, going to happen because everyone's under the impression that, oh, this is Ospreay's tournament to win. Whereas on the women's side of things, sure, you can make the argument that some of the participants is a bit questionable, but it's not as set in stone unless a certain someone is in fact the wild card, then maybe it might be a little bit predictable. Because a lot of people went into this tournament with the expectation that Mercedes is defending her own Hart belt. She's going to win the tournament and win the AEW Women's title that way. Pretty much trading one belt for another.
Well, she is last year's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament winner. And, of course, a previous reign defending Owen Hart Foundation Tournament winner is out of the tournament, to your point, due to shoulder injury. And on behalf of Civil Studios, we wish Will Nightingale the happiest and quickest of recoveries. Get well soon. And that also, by the way, might I add, has vacated the TBS championship. And that's still to be figured out down the line, too. Continue.
Yeah, we might find out how we're going to get one. Is now who are we going to be crowning a champion, or there's going to be an interim champion? I have a feeling that we're going to crown a champion, but in what way? That's to be determined on Dynamite. So I'll probably be looking into Dynamite for that, or possibly Collision, because the TBS has been mostly dependent on Collision. So we'll probably get more about that on Collision, which makes more sense.
Yeah, Turner Share Network aside, it's like brands with LL, Turner Network LOL. I should start saying that. And of course, I want to remind you people here at the Silverman's brand, stay tuned for exclusive coverage of both Owen Hart Foundation tournaments in full, as I will be covering those matches in full live. So if there's an Owen Hart Foundation tournament match on a live Dynamite or Collision, expect to cover here at the Silverman's brand, as I've been starting to cover more of these tournaments. And again, the next tournament I'm going to focus on all my work in is definitely when we do Bad Record Breakdown for the G1 Climax. Stay tuned for more details on that. Continue.
For the International Championship, it can go one of two ways. Because I'm wondering, is now the time to pull the trigger on Takeshita, or can they drag it out without it being stale or losing its sizzle? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because part of me thinks it's like we're in that weird spot where part of me thinks it's too early, but you don't want to pull the trigger like
too late.
Exactly. Yes.
Nope. His phone must have blew up. Continue.
The 4-way. I have a feeling Techno's going to retain, but we're going to get as the story beat of Shida and Statlander and their partnership that they formed. So there's
Shida formed. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, there's that little story beat that it's going to be like a focus on there. Mox and O'Reilly. So I wanted to talk about these two matches because they're kind of similar, in which we're certain it's going to go one way, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes this other direction too, because I'd be pleasantly surprised if Darby retains and O'Reilly becomes champion. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but there's a possibility of it. And will I be upset if it does? Absolutely not, because with Mox's Continental, almost fucking did it. God damn it.
It's Continental International.
The title.
But I get it. It's difficult. Sorry, I'm going to botch you anyway.
Okay. We haven't done one in a while, so.
That's true. I got to make sure I get the lights green next time when I put the botch button up. Anyway, continue.
So the title currently held by Mox that he won at the last year's tournament at World's End. So if he retains, who's left for him? But on the other hand, what has O'Reilly done lately to earn that title? Because yeah, he's beaten Mox twice, but unless you're like an avid AEW watcher, you're not going to remember that key detail.
Exactly. Again, to your point, he came back at Dynasty to win the Trio Champions alongside the Conglomeration, because the last time he faced John Moxley with last year at Full Gear, he made him tap down in a bloody, barbaric fight, but he still sustained serious injuries to the point. Well, he was also dealing with some mental stuff too, by the way. God bless him. He's been out literally since last year, November, coming back only this year in April.
Yeah. And with O'Reilly winning the title, there's way more fresh matchups and feuds that they can build off of going to, because Moxley has gone through the entire roster. Like,
It feels like it, to be fair.
Yeah, because the only other opponents left for him are his own stablemates, or Ring of Honor, or the folks in Ring of Honor. But I don't think they're going to have Mox go down to Ring of Honor.
Or somebody that's hurt.
That too.
Thank you, Nick. Took the words out of my mouth. Continue.
Yeah. So these two title matches, these are the Continental. I remember this time, thank God. and the AEW title. Those are the two matches I'm going to be on on the keen watch for, because it's going to be the case of expectation versus reality.
I thought you were going to say expectation versus execution, but I think the same concept
that
applies
also
here.
applies too. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Ash. All right, Nick. Well, let's go ahead and get your simple outlook ahead of AEW Double or Nothing. Bang, bang. Shout out to Mick Foley now, who apparently will be the new correspondent with Renee Paquette going forward on the pre-shows. Very curious to see how what comes from that. And you can almost draw a lot of comparisons with Mick Foley and Darby Allin. People that won the gold, but were they meant to? It's a whole different conversation. But what Darby Allin's done, no one in the history of this business has done. It's been absolutely nothing ridiculous, despite the quality of the talent. It's still ridiculously crazy what he's done with this championship on a week-by-week basis, let alone himself. But that's a whole different conversation another day, and it might be an afterthought after tomorrow night. Nick, go ahead. Lay your thoughts. Double or Nothing. Break it down, man. Give your previews and give your outlooks, and what do you hope maybe will be a surprising result?
Okay. This card, we talked about it earlier in the show about, cards being too short and cards being too long.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this card and say, why? And I say that because we don't there's some stuff on this card, and I get it. Okay. Why? I don't need unless I'm getting Jay White coming out at the end of O'Reilly Mox. Why is this here? I don't need it.
Fair shout. Jay White, by the way, who's still apparently John Monty also has never forgot how to beat in singles action.
So unless we're getting that sort of return, then I can see this being, then okay, you can have this on the card. I wish, and I understand we've done this before in the past. I get it. The fact that we have the 3 Owen Hart matches on here, I don't like it. We are so far out from All In that this Owen Hart, I think, and I feel that they've rushed it. This should have culminated. This should have started at Forbidden Door in June, and then, because if the Owen Hart winners, and I get it, they're probably going to stretch this out so much. But I feel like this is too far out, and to have these 3 matches on this card is the definition of just getting people on the card for the sake of getting them on the card. You're telling me that we needed, I don't think we needed these 3 matches on this card. We could have easily done 3. Where are the trios titles? I get it. Okay, Kyle.
The champions is already wrestling.
But that's what I mean. I get it that Kyle is there. But that whole storyline, I think, is overdue. And Tony has a bad habit of starting and stopping feuds and storylines. He does. And now, whether that's people being injured or whatnot have you, this match should have taken between Mox and O'Reilly should have already happened. So the fact that we're getting this on this card when you could have had a different challenger for Mox, or there's too many titles now in AEW proper to
I
where
think we've already established that ad nauseum. Too many belts.
And that's what I mean. There's too many belts in this company to where you could have easily had the trios titles defended on this card, thus taking away one of the Owen Hart tournament matches, and then the national title that Mark Davis just won. Like, he should be in feuds for that title. It should be. This should like I don't. This is the This card is the definition of this card is too fucking long with too many irrelevant matches. It's gonna be a great card. They've sold out. It's gonna. AEW doesn't have a bad pay-per-view. It's just these are one of the criticisms where it's like some of these matches. Not everybody needs to be on the card.
Oh, no, I agree. I understand that outlook,
Right?
and I agree with that constant grievance that you're bringing up. But
Right?
I just simply say it is what it is. But I just understand the form that AEW does. But if I were to change the card, I probably would just make the Owens matches go across a couple of Dynamites, not a single Dynamite. You also got to consider, to your point about injuries, Alex Windsor and Persephone are also currently not clear to compete, but will be later. So it also might be one of those things where Tony Khan is changing the form of how he's executing the tournament right now because of those, because he still wants to include those participants in the tournament, but he just wants to make sure they're able to do their match. Again, one injury already took out literally a former Owen Hart champion. I do think there is some rhyme and reason that goes into these matches. Let's not forget, Kata and Konosuke was the first match announced for this card, all right? I just want to put that out there. Kyle O'Reilly, John Moxley was just made off what happened Wednesday. The rest of the stuff pretty much been building over the last few weeks. And the Owen, of course, it was announced to be made official, just not this Wednesday, but past week on Dynamite. So outside the Owen ones and the Kyle and the Moxley, the other ones have all been justifiably built over the span since Dynasty. If you were to take those out, you would literally have 5 matches.
So you would take those matches out and then you'd add, right?
Well, yeah, I would add, because I do think, again, the best spot is 7, no more than 7. 6, you could probably make that work. But with how much AEW puts time into their matches, you got to consider the championship matches, somewhat unique stipulations, Fatal 4-Way, I Quit, Japanese Strong Style. Konosuke and Okada are not going to go less than 20 minutes, bro. Let's call it what it is. And Darby Allin and MJF, with how far these two crazy desperate buffoons are going to go for the win, you already got a long enough card right there. If I were to add one more match, it'd probably be due to what happened with Nell Nightingale, maybe actually something regarding the women in the TBS Championship, because I also want to see the women AEW represented. I probably, in all honesty, because it's double or nothing, just do a freaking casino gauntlet to crown a new TBS champion.
No, I would have maybe done. You could I think if you did a gauntlet match, a casino gauntlet, I think that you're just at that point overkilling the gimmick.
When was the last one, dude? I'm just saying. You're talking about not overkilling the gimmick.
There was one just at Dynasty.
There was?
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, the TNT Championship. I completely forgot about that.
That was just So I missed.
Okay, fair enough.
I think this.
Well, maybe they just run a gauntlet, like a traffic jam, and freaking one person, another, just a selective, random group of women all fighting for a championship. Where maybe like the first 4, and then the last one's a surprise.
Or
but I still would try and do some of the TBS Championship, considering the circumstance that happened.
Well, I would have done.
Not that, the only other thing I would do, because again, I want the women to be spotlighted, the Women's Tag Team Championships. And maybe not a 5-minute eliminator, but maybe an actual, or a couple, because prove our dominance. We prove our this, we prove our this. 2 teams, they beat in 10 minutes. The other team takes them to the limit for 15. They still win. But at least you are showcasing the Women's Tag Team If there should be a title showcase more predominantly, I think it's Megan Bayne and Lena Cross.
Yeah, they should. No, but they're on the pre-show probably.
Well, they are, I think. Sada Steel and Viva Van, I think, are taking on their 5-minute eliminator.
Really?
Good luck.
Really?
Yes.
So there's, in a lot of good that AEW does do some good. There are these
there are flaws in everything, dude. Let's call it what it is.
I would really, and hopefully, I guess he's not doing it this year. If they do announce, or if it is true with the reports that AEW will be getting a pay-per-view in July with AEW Redemption, I would make that pay-per-view akin to the King of the Ring pay-per-views. I would have that pay-per-view in July be where all the Owen matches, because realistically the Owen matches, it's 3 matches, right? It's your quarters, your semis, and your finals. Right?
Well, if you're looking at this from the start, you're actually looking more at 7 matches overall. If you only do the semifinals, the finals, you're looking at 3 matches overall to do that for Continental Classic. But basically, yes.
So, I mean, I would just make that whole July pay-per-view. I would just make that whole July pay-per-view just a King of the Ring, a King of the Owen, you can call it. Who knows, right? The Owen Hart Foundation tournament. You could just make it a standalone event. But I mean, nonetheless, this card's going to be good. They sold out. Good on them for selling out.
And again, it's a stadium, not like a regular venue, which actually makes it feel even more special versus another place where every show feels exactly the same. And I think I appreciate that about AEW's identity in general. They make the pay-per-views feel bigger than the TV.
Yeah, of course, right? And I mean, well, listen, the reason why AEW doing that, like, let's call a spade as well. You know, they don't sell that many tickets.
Yeah, I know. They found their comfort zone, and right now it works for them because apparently everything's working according to what MJF's telling us here across the board. Good for them. I don't need to see another WWE. Why do you think I left that place?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right? Like, I just don't want people, let's not be, we got to be transparent with it. The reason why they're not running
especially for everyone that
arenas,
focuses on business metrics and numbers and think that, oh, you're not doing what WWE does, you don't matter.
No, right? They're not running arenas because, let's be frank, they can't sell that many tickets.
No, they don't have that level of controversy or exposure or feeding you this much for this overpriced that you buy into it. They also don't have that legacy of a 50-year-old company.
But you know what? The venues that they are running, they are unique. They're running something in Clearwater that's like a really, really unique kind of venue that they're running. So, regardless of all that,
because we're not here to talk about that. But regardless, just look at the card.
Wrap it up into a bow. You know, the card's going to be great.
Yeah,
sold it out. Look forward to kind of everything is on there, and then hopefully we can get, hopefully we get some surprises and some good quality television and pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting to see what song they're going to use for Stadium Stampede. And again, sometimes these pay-per-views...
you know what song they're using. If the Elite do not come out to Carry On My Wayward Son, it needs to be.
Just play the whole song, basically, and fight during the guitar solo.
Probably.
I mean, I could see it, honestly. I could see it. But nonetheless, I do think we are going to be in for a unique surprise or some sort of takeaway, and we're definitely going to see some definitive results and finales, especially with the fact the show's called Over and Nothing and implies itself, especially the main event. I think we are in for some unique stuff ahead of Forbidden Door season as we force towards All In. And the biggest circumstances are the AEW World Championship, Will Ospreay, Cajun Cope, Don Callis family member number 1, and at this point, those are the biggest things that I'm looking into right now on AEW in general. But at least here, I know to a degree, I'm going to get my money's worth, and I am going to expect the unexpected. Stand Stampede is always fun. Kyle O'Reilly, John Moxley continue to push each other, where John Moxley's like, thank you for always pushing me to find a way to win. Will John Moxley find a way to win? More people think yes. But again, what does it mean going forward without Switch for Jay White? The one other person I can think of that hasn't beaten him in one-on-one that's on AEW contract. That's a whole different conversation. Most dangerous versus most wanted. How dangerous is a one-arm bandit versus a man that has nothing to lose and everything to gain? Swear Bandito first time ever matchup. Bandito's been made through his rest of the year for the last year. I'm looking forward to that. It would warm my heart so damn much to scream to the top of my lungs to say Mina Shirakawa fucking wins. But do I believe that's going to happen based on statistics, being a data man? Not really. But I also don't believe Athena's winning the OM because when it comes to AEW, fortune does not favor the fallen goddess at this stage. There's a reason why she's able to hold on to Ring of Honor. But again, you have your league and then there's the main league. And then, of course, as I said, Okada, Takeshita, strong style, enough said. Shida and Stat are going to probably, Shida and Stat are going to have a fallout. There's the word I'm looking for. Jamie Hayter, I think there's a different future in store for she will go to Wembley Stadium, maybe alongside another Brov that's in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament under a different type of journey, and I think both are rather deserving of it. Regardless, I think this is going to be a fun show. Once again, the call, because you're always going to be my favorite pay-per-views. I do think there's going to be some title changes here, and I also do hope to see some upsets in both Owens, and I think they're more likely to happen in the women versus the men, but I'm curious to see particularly what Bandito and for Strickland do to each other. Regardless, that's AEW Double or Nothing, folks. So again, what are your biggest expectations for AEW this year ahead of All In? What are you looking most forward to at Double or Nothing? And again, are you a fan of All Elite Wrestling? Are you tuning in for the first time? Are you encouraged now to give it a chance? At the end of the day, don't be tribalistic. Just try and enjoy live professional wrestling, damn it. If something doesn't fit your taste, flip the channel or find something else to put on your plate. But that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in to this Canadian edition of the Saturday Shenanigans. Hope you all enjoyed. Let's get the fuck out of here because I'm going to treat this better than a Monday Night Raw without advertisements. We're just under the 2.5-hour mark. Ash and Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure doing this podcast with you two. I think we had tremendous flow, communication, engagement, and overall, it was very simple, eh? And I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and this was a first-time experience. Who knew I could actually engage with the Canadian connection as an American and still leave this under 2 hours and 30 minutes? Matt, props to you both. God bless you. Nick, why don't you go ahead and tell where the people can find you and promote your stuff and your Mr. stuff, too, if you choose.
You can, my ad is down there below. You can find me there. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Yeah, that there. Even though I'm Avatar man.
Yeah, you're fine with that.
We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Touch on what we're doing. You know, like you said, we have the Double or Nothing stuff tomorrow. But we also we are gonna be with I think some of us are taking an excursion to the UK, and we're gonna be on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast tomorrow. Talking about This Week in Wrestling. So, gonna see Adam and that crew over there. So make sure you check them out. Make sure you check us out tomorrow. It's gonna be a kick-ass time. I think this is the first time that we're really doing something like this, and super excited to be a part of it. And let's other than that, then we got Double or Nothing tomorrow night, and all of our great interviews coming up. So just really check out what we're doing. We're firing on all cylinders. Let's fucking go.
What time is that podcast tomorrow?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think JJ will know. But keep checking the socials just to kind of see and keep up to date. You'll obviously make tweets and stuff kind of beforehand, unless one of the boys are in the chat, but probably not.
They're probably all asleep or taking care of priorities.
Yeah. But I'm unsure. I'm unsure when it's going to be tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be before Double or Nothing. So just everybody keep an eye out. Tweets will come out and all the notifications come out. So subscribe to the channel, everything, and that's make sure you tune in tomorrow. It's going to be a fun day.
Because depending on what time that that podcast is, I might not be able to make it because I have family obligations to attend to tomorrow.
Priorities over passions, Ash, and I completely understand, and everyone understands that here, and everyone should understand also what you stand for, too, in and out of your professional development. Again, congrats to you. But let's go ahead and tell where the people can find you.
You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at ShadowBadAsh. And if you'd like to, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Batty for Wrestling. Like all types of wrestlings. Enjoy what you like. Don't be a fucking dickhead.
As simple as that. And then, of course, you and Attila Tatash will be starting your own podcast adventure here very soon in pop culture with Pop Culture Powerbomb. Again, follow it today on the X, folks, where you will see more of the lovely Ash and our mighty Morphin Pink Power Ranger Attila collabing and communicating together here very soon on all sorts of things pop culture.
Once I might just be a featured guest because that's mainly Datilla's project. She's doing by herself. So
exactly.
You may see me on there, you may not. It's really up in the air at this moment.
It takes two
you
to
can
tango.
mainly find so you can mainly find me on Twitter. That's where I'm mostly active in. If you want to, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I haven't made videos in a while because let me tell you, life has been beyond chaotic. But everything's settled down. So yeah, it's like my video schedule is just as crazy and sporadic as my work schedule. So
well, that's the hand that life throws at you sometimes, but the ways of the simple man, you find time to do nothing or get some shut-eye. But appreciate you always, Ash, and I appreciate all professional wrestling fans, both American, Canadian, insert your country of origin here. And again, thank you both, and thank you all for tuning in. If you want to find me or further engage with me, try if you choose. Find me if you can at Foster1916 on the X and on YouTube for all things wrestling. Shout out to BW fan, for I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it. Again, as you heard verbatim, we'll be covering Double or Nothing live, and of course, I will be on the call. Figure, by the way, for those that tuned in to Saturday night's main event and also Saturday Shenanigans here live, stay tuned for me and insert name here, who will be on the call with me for the entirety of Double or Nothing. As we head into Memorial Day, again, honor those that, of course, serve and respect them, and of course, respect and appreciate those serving now, and just have a great, safe Memorial Day weekend. Stay tuned for me and Papagino. Breaking down the predictions and the scores that this Bat and Ashley right now are ruling in that All Elite League at the very top. Good luck to you both. Of course, me and Papagino break it down 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live Monday evening ahead of Monday Night Raw. So stay tuned for that. Particularly break down with me and Papagino. Then stay tuned, of course, for Major Push Wrestling Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, where we'll give the major push to professional wrestling at the Papagino Network. And of course, Thursday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, will be Celebrity Clash in Italy. So stay tuned for more on that, especially if you are part of the WPLE League, and make sure you get your predictions in. Speaking of predictions, if you still haven't gotten your predictions in for the All Elite League or are still debating or fickle on your predictions, you have till 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Sunday, May the 24th, to make them final and submit them, or they are null and void. So good luck to everybody involved in that. And of course, stay tuned for our coverage of Clash in Italy this upcoming Sunday weekend. And again, you talk about, of course, the friends you know here are Canadians. Don't forget to follow the rest of the people here, Americans. Follow Walter Cruz at Rage Wrestling on YouTube. That is the brainchild. Give him the 300 so he and his wife can kill their livers with hot stuff on hot wings. And apparently I'm moderating. Ian leaves us filming for the Philia, apparently. So again, please subscribe today to Walter Cruz at Rage of Wrestling. You can follow JJ. Fuck Chase you. You can follow JJ if you choose at Castle 18 Studios at the Renegade, JJ Williams. Castle 18 Studios on the YouTube and Castle 18 Studios on the Twix. As of course, he is one of the brainchilds here, the leading founders, the promoters here of the Cibolo Studios. As you heard, follow SR Studios 2024 today. I talked about... Yes?
Sorry, can you pull up JJ's graphic again?
Go ahead.
Does that look like Joe Hendry?
Fuck you.
It looked like him. Sorry, I thought I saw him. Continue.
Son of a bitch. Anyway. Fuck. Follow Datilla again. Raiders of Wrestling on YouTube. Raiders of Wrestling on the Twix, on the X at Datilla _ Raiders of Wrestling Instagram. But primarily follow her new venture into pop culture Car Bomb on the X. Again, it's X, not a bluebird. Botched by you, producer man. Fix that overlay when you can. And last but certainly not least, follow the MVPs, the VIPs, the ones that bring the biggest expense to my dignity. The Dominguez. Arlene Emmanuel Dominguez on the Instagram and on the X, as you see. And that's all I have to promote, literally. So as far as I conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, no matter how much they annoy you, American, Canadian, by blood or by virtue, and just be alive and enjoy professional wrestling too. It is truly as simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much once again to all of y'all for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell so it goes live and on any of the YouTube channels, hit the Cinema Studios, or again, follow us in the X to stay tuned when we have something else coming forward to you in watch-alongs, and interviews, and engagements, and entertainment, sports, combat sports, wrestling, and other forms, pop culture-wise, to follow as well. And apparently, again, there's your number one fan. Thank you, by the way, to Christopher Lakira, Morale, Nathan Banks, Safet, Emmanuel Dominguez also, and Matt Helms for being part of the conversation also in the chat. And Walter, who was watching far away. Again, happy birthday to Young Cruz, by the way. Walter, I hope they had a wonderful birthday. Keep doing things right. You lead proper as a father figure. Don't deny what you bring to your family. And also, people, don't deny what you bring to the talent and what you bring as yourself as a fan in and out of professional wrestling. So thank you again, Ash. Thank you again, Nick. Thank you again to all of you. And Kenny Omega Fashion, another great Canadian. I now bid you all a fine adieu. So until the next time we are on your screen or in your feed, make a positive impact in life. Have a good night, and thank you for tuning in to another rousing edition of the Saturday Shenanigans. Have a good night, folks, and we will see you at Double or Nothing, and next weekend, too, for our Clash in Italy and stuff to follow in between. Take care, everybody, and my fellow Canadians, thank you.